5-minute phone call to see how we can save you thousands of dollars a year. So call Westland at 888-615-3669. It's the biggest no-brainer in the history of mankind. Call us at 888-615-3669. 888-615-3669. That's 888-615-3669.
Lennox Financial Mortgage Corp. DBA Westland. NMLS 3304. Not all loans apply. Equal housing lender.
Whether you're working remotely, taking web classes, binge-watching TV, or gaming, Dell is here to help you find the right tech. From XPS and Alienware computers that are redefining what's possible with 10th Gen Intel Core processors to the latest top brand electronics, our seamless tech solutions will help keep you connected. Plus, get free shipping. Call us today at 800-BY-DELL. That's 800-BY-DELL.
These are unprecedented times, which are causing a lot of stress and financial worry for millions of Americans. But here's some good news. If you owe back taxes to the IRS, Optima Tax Relief can reduce the stress in your life by helping you resolve your tax debt right from the safety of your own home. Make no mistake, you don't want to ignore the IRS right now. They can take your paycheck and everything you work so hard for. But with Optima on your side, you may qualify for help that saves you thousands. Their tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and has resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for taxpayers across the nation. So now's the time for tax help you need, for tax help you trust. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-725-9935. 800-725-9935. 800-725-9935.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This is Down the Stretch.
If you love horse racing, then join our team as we change stables or channels. Get the latest thoroughbred and harness racing news, interviews, handicapping, and analysis on Down the Stretch every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. You can find us at Dan Patrick Radio, SiriusXM Channel 211, and on the SiriusXM app.
Isn't it about time for somebody's favorite radio program?
The Tony Bruno Show.
The man chosen to save American radio from its horrible future.
He didn't invent radio. He just perfected it.
Tony Bruno Show with Harry Mayes.
Parental discretion is advised.
The godfather of sports radio.
It is a final.
Here is Tony Bruno.
Tony Bruno.
Greetings, my children. We have gathered here on a lovely, lovely May day. No May days, Harry. It is May 26th. Hope everybody had a fabulous weekend, Memorial Day weekend. Short week this week, Harry. How was your weekend? You have a good time?
Yeah, I feel like I'm still in it.
Yeah, I know. It was,
you know
it was difficult realizing, because yesterday when we got back, we went to the cemetery to see my dad's grave, and obviously served in the military. And I love military cemeteries. Beverly National Cemetery over in Willingboro, New Jersey, is where my dad is buried, and all the tombstones are the same. Mm-hmm. And Robin and I have been to Arlington many times, and it's a fabulous, fabulous place to see. And normally on Memorial Day, they have volunteers go out and put flags in front of every grave site.
Right.
But this year, because of COVID-19, they didn't think the volunteers should be out there putting flags in.
Including the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, the Boy Scouts normally do that.
And it's not that they didn't want to do it. They were told not to do it for their own safety. But I brought a couple of flags over, and that's what I did, because I go and visit my dad. I try to go there every Memorial Day and pay respects. And Robin did a nice little thing where she superimposed a picture of my dad from his military days right behind his tombstone.
Yeah, how did you do that? I saw that on Twitter today.
I am a genius. No, I'm kidding. I was actually all from my phone. There's these apps that allow you to do. First, I had to download Tony's dad's photograph and erase all the background, so it was just him.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's an app called, I think it's called Ghost app or something, so that you can overlay and then make it see-through.
Wow.
Transparent.
Yeah,
like
pretty wild.
Yeah. No, that was actually
all
Robin
from my
did
phone.
That. I know,
like,
that was great.
That used to be only Photoshop that you could do that with, and now you just do it.
And I
from
got
your
a
phone.
bunch of response. And I didn't do it for response. I'm not trying to show off that my dad was in the military. A lot of people. That's what Memorial Day is all about. It's about honoring those who served and lost their lives.
You know, I know that there's several. There was a couple, not several. There was a couple people who said, you know, Tony, that's kind of sacrilege taking photos in a cemetery, and I see it the exact opposite. I see that as honoring the memory of the person. You're not like, it would be different if you're going there and like you said, there's some cemeteries who have like dances and
they
movie
do like
nights
concerts
and things
stuff.
like that.
That to me, and it's a big cemetery in Philly, and they do ghost walks and they do concerts and they do movie nights. That to me is disrespecting the dead. But when you're in a military ceremony, again, you can do what you want. But 250,000 people saw that, and that's not the important thing to me. But Robin said, wow, you know how many impressions that tweet got? And it's not about impressions. It's about showing people who have lost loved ones who served our country that's part of the Memorial Day weekend,
and not
that we all
everybody
should take a few moments to understand. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. And not everybody can make it out to the cemetery to honor their own family members. Maybe they've moved, maybe they're too far away, and it doesn't make sense for them. So being able to do that, like there was a gentleman who said, oh, my dad's there as well. And so we stopped off there. We had a couple of extra flags. We put flags on his dad and sent him the photograph.
Of his dad's grave, but it wasn't like all the stones around it. We weren't putting anybody else's stones' names on there. So you do what you want with it. I feel good about doing that. You know, I lost my dad in 1962. So I mean, he's been dead longer than before Robin was born. My dad died.
Right.
I just don't think any of those things like cemeteries and visiting that shouldn't be swept under the rug. You should be reminding other people who maybe haven't lost anybody in that situation.
Well, it's not about putting it in anybody's face, Robin.
No, it's not. But it is really helping other people remember.
Other people went to the beach. Other people went swimming. You do what you want on Memorial Day. I always remember what it's about. That's all that matters to me, because I respect the military and I respect my dad's service in the military. In the meantime, let's get it back to the most important thing that we are facing on this new week, a shortened week, Harry.
Yeah, it's big news today.
Who would have thought? Who would have thunk that hockey, the National Hockey League, Harry, would be the first sport to say, all you other suckers, all you baseball chumps, all you basketball chumps, all you other chumps out there, all you governor chumps, we're going to step forward and we're going to open this sumbitch up.
Well, Adam Silver has about 90 minutes to trump Gary Bettman, because at 4:30, apparently, Eastern Time, he's going to unveil their plan.
And we already know the basics.
I'm excited.
By the way, we got Ryan Rothstein. Ryan, can you grab the stuff off that printer right there? I printed some stuff earlier. It should be right there on the printer.
It's looking like some sort of 24.
Yes, and I have the breakdown.
Right?
I have the exclusive news handed to me. The commissioner sent me a personal email today.
Oh, yeah?
To tell me that he was going to have his, all the phases that you're hearing of all over the country.
Aren't they in phase 2 now, I think, the NHL?
But the phase 2 of the NHL is not like the phase 2 in Pennsylvania, because we have
We're yellow. We're in yellow.
We have color systems in the states that determine what happens, but then in sports we have the numeric phases.
Well, actually,
phase
we're
1.
not in yellow yet.
Not
June
until
5th, I think.
Not until June 5th. That's right.
Yeah.
So we have another week. It'll be a week from yesterday, Harry.
Yes.
No, a week from yesterday is June 1st. June 5th will
Friday.
be Friday. So
right.
a week from Friday for all of you people out there. But here it is. I'm handing it to you now. This is what Gary Bettman will announce today, Harry. We now know. We don't know the when.
We don't know when.
Right, but we know how they will get the hockey season going and finish it out and have Lord Stanley's Cup presented sometime. 24 teams, right, Harry?
Right, 24 teams in the playoff. Typically, they have 16.
Right.
Remember how they used to always say everybody makes the playoffs in hockey?
Now everybody makes the playoffs. This year they will.
Basically, it is true. For this year, the top 4 teams will be awarded byes.
Yes.
And then seeds 5 through 12 will face off in some sort of play-in series to determine the final 16 teams. Now, I don't know how many games that's going to be. Is it going to be a one-game playoff?
Yeah, we don't know
Is
that.
It 3, 5? I don't know.
And that's what the commissioner is announcing today. But the news of the playoff format, this has been known for a while. But, for example, in the Eastern Conference, you know who the top 4 teams are and will get byes. So it looks like they're not going to finish out the season.
The regular season.
They're just going to start with the play. They're going to have a training camp report all this important medical stuff. That goes without saying. We don't have to say they're going to practice social distancing and they're going to allow only 6 guys on the ice at the same time.
Right.
We know they're going to do that. That's what we are supposed to do. So was it necessary for us now to always tell everybody what they're going to do?
No.
I'm tired of everybody
sick of
telling everybody what to do and the 6 feet and social distancing and shelter in place and all this other crap. I can't wait till those terms are removed from the lexicon.
Yeah, I don't know that they will be anytime soon, Tony.
I don't
That's the
care about
problem.
anytime soon, but I am not sheltering in place. We went out this weekend. We went to see my son in Maryland. I got to hold my grandson for the first time since he was born in January.
Wow.
Those are the things I look forward to. Anybody else, if you're mad, stay at home. Stay inside and get the hell out of my face with your crazy stuff. That's all I have. I don't tell you what to do. Don't you dare tell me what to do.
Well, the top 4 teams in the East are the Bruins, the Lightning, the Caps, and the Flyers.
Correct.
Believe it or not. The Flyers get a bye.
Exactly right.
And then in the West, you got the Blues, the defending champs, the Avalanche, the Golden Knights, and the Stars.
So then you'll have the play-in series. The 5-seed Pittsburgh will take on the 12-seed Canadiens.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got and there are a lot of people already complaining about this. Why should Montreal and the Rangers be in there? Right?
Somebody's going to complain about everything.
Of course they will.
Okay? No matter
this hasn't
what.
even been officially announced yet, and people are already
whining.
bitching about it. Jesus. You know what? But that's what we need. That's the sports world we know and love.
We haven't had a chance to bitch.
We haven't had a chance to bitch about anything, any bad coaching decisions, right? You can't bitch about coaching decisions in The Last Dance. So anyway, so you got Pittsburgh and the Canadiens, 6-seed Carolina Hurricane against the 11-seed Rangers, Panthers against the Maple Leaf. No, who's the Rangers?
And
I
I don't know,
didn't get
it cut off on
It did
you.
cut off. But anyway, the 8 and 9 teams play Maple Leafs and Blue Jackets. And then in the West, you mentioned the 4 teams, Oilers, Blackhawks, Predators, Coyotes, Flames, and Jets. And you'll know it all later on today when the commissioner makes the announcement. That's good news. The other good news, Harry, is that Governor Murphy in New Jersey has now allowed sports teams in New Jersey to reopen for training and competition. The Sixers have already been in Camden and have been working out there, but not as a full team. Now the full teams are allowed to go over there.
Right.
And then it's up to the teams and the personnel and the coaching staff. You know who's under the gun again?
Brett Brown.
We now initially can put Brett Brown officially on the clock.
He's back on the hot seat.
He's been on the hot seat for months. He even shaved his beard. Everybody was growing beards. Brett Brown is the only coach who shaved his beard and is clean-shaven during the pandemic.
Wow.
You know, sometimes you just got to go completely opposite of what the norm is.
I trimmed my beard over the weekend.
It's like when I moved to California.
Did you trim your beard?
Yes, I did. When I moved to California, I went red. I went I'm my natural hair, but everybody there is blonde, so I went a redhead.
Meanwhile,
that's what you got to do.
Yes. And you got the Sixers and Flyers are in Voorhees, New Jersey. You got the New Jersey Devils up there in Newark, right? Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the football teams are in Jersey, too, even though they're the New York teams.
Right.
But the New York teams can't do anything still until Cuomo says so up there. But Governor Murphy now saying he's going to allow graduations in July for kids who graduate from high schools and colleges. So New Jersey's starting to wake up a little bit. People went to the beach. They went to the boardwalks. And then, of course, you had the media people out there with cameras trying to shame everybody who didn't have a mask on. And I'm getting tired of that too, Harry. Network people, TV, yelling at people, and then the camera people who are with the network television people don't have a mask on, but they're shaming people walking by who aren't even close to one another.
Right.
I'm tired of that too.
I can no longer be shamed.
You're shameless?
Yeah, I'm shameless.
What changed? Like, was it
watching the show Shameless on Showtime?
No, I couldn't get through that show.
I couldn't either.
No.
And I like the actors in it.
Yeah.
I just didn't get it.
William H. Macy's character, I wanted to end him.
Yeah, me too.
Two seasons in, I couldn't deal with
yeah,
it.
when a character is just too
He's just too over the top for me.
It was like watching Casino. I watched Casino for the first time.
Oh, you
Friday,
did?
Robin and
Finally.
we're up till 2:30 in the morning because
it's like 3.5 hours
I know.
long.
Because I always wanted to see it, and it came on. I said, "Oh, let's watch Casino." And then I wanted to turn it off and go to bed, and then I kept watching it. And in that movie, I wanted everybody dead.
Sharon
except
Stone's character
was phenomenal.
She was really good.
She had the hardest role.
Yeah.
Pesci and De Niro did the same thing in every movie.
She made you really hate her.
Yes,
her character.
Oh,
She was
I
good.
basically wanted everybody dead except one guy. You know who the guy? Don Rickles.
Oh, Rickles.
He's the only guy I didn't want dead.
And he is dead, unfortunately.
I know, well, obviously. Well, a
Yeah.
lot of those people in that movie are dead now. That was 1995, Harry.
I know, it's a long time ago.
It was all right, though. It was too long. And that's what I said. That's why I won't watch The Irishman.
Well, that is too long.
I will not watch The Irishman. Ever, ever, ever.
The only thing
Ever.
that I had a problem with is that De Niro's character was supposed to be Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they didn't even try to make him look Jewish.
How do you look
in
Jewish,
real
Rob?
What
What are you
are
saying
you
right
trying
here?
to say?
What are you
Well,
saying
I
right
mean, they
here?
didn't try to make him look like the character. His name was Rothstein.
We got a couple of Jews in here.
What's the matter with you,
and
Robin?
in real life,
Who are you, the
guy,
mayor de Blasio of New York? Going
No.
after the Jews?
The real life, the guy was like bald, wore glasses. He was
Mm.
a little bit nerdy looking. They did not do that at
Of
all.
course not,
Well.
because they used real actors, not the schlubs who were the actual
Why
people who
couldn't
did
the
that
actor?
crap.
Why couldn't De Niro go a little balding on top for the part? You know,
They probably didn't pay him enough.
and wear nerdy looking glasses. For God's sakes!
He did have weird glasses
At the
on.
very end, at the very last shot. That's it.
Actually, we had one of the scenes that was cut by Scorsese in the film when they thought it was a little too Jewish. Mm-hmm. And then
All right, Tony Bruno.
I can't find it now. I had to scroll for it. Anyway, that was Robin. Send all hate mail
That's
to at
right.
Miss Robin Austin on Twitter. Not at Tony Bruno Show or at Harry Mayes. We got a great show today, I hope. We got John McMullen. We got Charles Barkley joining us.
Finally.
And Dan Lust, Esquire. We got a lot of legalese to get through today, Harry.
Right.
All of that and more still ahead. We're just getting started. It is the Tuesday after a long Labor Day weekend. Stick around. You know what I was looking for, right?
No.
No way.
Oh, that.
Tell them you're Jewish. Make him look Jewish. What are they not supposed to put a big nose on him? What are they supposed to do? Have him do Shock G and Humpty Dance when he put that fake nose on?
I was just thinking that make him look like the guy that he's supposed to be
No,
playing.
you're not. It doesn't matter what the guys look like. Nobody ever looks like the
Sharon
original
Stone did a very good job of looking like his wife.
She looked like a bimbo, which was what
Yeah.
she's supposed to be.
Exactly.
She didn't have plastic surgery on her face to make her look like the chick.
Okay, what is going on here? What does this say on the back?
It says Q2N 4K. Hey, Wang! It's a private course here. Don't tell them you're Jewish.
Great.
When we do the open over later, we won't have to mention any of that stuff. We won't do that in there.
Oh, great. Are all of them frozen? Fantastic.
The cameras are frozen?
Yep.
It was all yellow.
Except for that one. Okay.
All right, I got to find the Twitch stream here.
Webcam. Does it say webcam right here at the top?
Yes.
All right. What is going on, you stupid, stupid thing?
Where can I find the Twitch stream in here, Robin?
Go to, it's right at the front page, very first page. Here, hit home. Yeah, there you go. Social media. At the bottom. What the heck
That's
happened?
what I'm telling you, Robin. That's what happens. I need a separate, what do you call it? Just for.
I know, you did.
I didn't have a separate thing.
Social media.
That should be on the front page.
It's right there.
Okay. It wasn't when I
then-
tried to open it earlier.
And then hit this. And then just go up. There you go.
Welcome back to the Tony Bruno Show with Harry Mayes on SiriusXM 211.
Tony and Harry, Miss Robin in here already in double secret probation, Harry.
Already?
Well, I mean, comments she made. She may get banned by Jack. I think she and Trump are going to both be thrown off Twitter today for what they said. It's an outrage. Meanwhile, let's get it back to the action, Harry, because we've got a lot of football news. We mentioned hockey. They're going to unsheath it. Basketball, still trying to figure it out. Charles Barkley will join us next hour. We know about the NBA, Harry, is that Disney seems to be the place.
Right.
And that
Orlando,
yeah. Florida, they've got an isolated hub down there. We've been talking about this for months, but it looks like they really like the Disney. ABC, obviously, and Disney are the same company. Mm-hmm. They're in bed with the NBA
because they have with the league.
So as far as the technical aspects of doing games from down there,
right?
You know, they have it already all hooked up. It's the worldwide leader down there.
Yeah,
it's the wide world.
Plenty of accommodations.
Yeah.
You know, options.
They have the HP Fieldhouse. They have the Visa Center and an arena just on the Disney property in the Wild World of Sports complex. Mm-hmm. Then they could use the UCF facilities in Central Florida. They can go to the Orlando Magic facilities and the arena. They could have 13 games or practices going on at the same time.
Is that right?
That's how many facilities they have available. So that makes the most sense. We'll see how long the commissioner, Adam Silver, takes to give us an answer.
Well, that's one of the things I'm interested in finding out today about the hockey, as to, like, where are they going to do all this?
Well, we'll find out later on. But I know one guy who has everything going on. He is a multimedia megastar right now, and he's one of us. Well, he used to be. Has he gotten too big for this show now? You know, we used to put John McMullen on all the time.
Well, now he's got his big column going.
He's got a big column now. He's got all these radio and TV appearances, and maybe he starts turning his back on us or trying to shoehorn us into his busy schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great NFL insider, columnist, bon vivant, the great John McMullen. John, how are you, brother?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, guys. You know I would never. Robin, in fact, told me to come on at 4:20 today, but then Charles was coming on. So I can accept being bumped for Charles Barkley.
You were bumped up, not bumped back. Normally when a big celebrity bumps somebody.
Yeah, you're bumped off the show.
It's like back in the old Tonight Show, and Johnny Carson, if you were in the last half hour, a lot of times you didn't make it if the first couple of guests were good. They would blow you off. You know what I mean? You remember that, John?
Well, that was Jimmy Kimmel's whole stick. Apologies to Matt Damon.
Right, exactly. Now, John, good column today. A lot of football news because I'm seeing now the situation going on with the players' union. Looks like the players' union in the NFL is buying into because the players get 47% of the gate, too. So it looks like the NFL union members are saying, hey, their leadership are saying, we are looking at playing games with people in the stands this fall, whether it's half capacity, three-quarters capacity, or full capacity. And I think the piece of the pie has to help in that regard, does it not, John?
Yeah, no question. I think when you talk about any CBA, not enough people understand that games without fans, whether it's you guys were just talking about the NBA, NHL, I mean, that affects the bottom line of the players as well because the smaller the pie, the less that split is. So obviously 47% of $15 billion is a heck of a lot more than if you carve off $5.5 billion, which is what Forbes kind of estimated would happen if you play with no fans in the stands. I think that number's a little bit high, but it's a significant hit, so the players would obviously take a big brunt of that as well. So, you know, the NFL's gotten kind of lucky throughout this whole thing. We've talked about it in the past from a calendar perspective and the fact that it didn't start till after the season was over. And it looks like we're ramping up throughout sports before their season begins. So in some ways they got a little bit lucky, but becoming clearer and clearer every day that there's going to be some fans in the stands. It's just a matter of how many.
Well, speaking of the calendar, what do you anticipate being the first thing where players might return to the facilities?
Well, it's interesting. There was a Yahoo report today from Charles Robinson, and if you would, if you would have told me this before Memorial Day weekend, I would have laughed at you. And here we are the day after, and we're talking about coaches being back at facilities next week and potential mini camps, live mini camps taking place in June by the end of the month. I still don't think that's going to happen. I really don't, because and J.C. Tretter, who's the president of the Players Association now, has already been out there saying, look, we haven't agreed to anything. That has to be jointly negotiated. I don't think there's enough time to get that done, but I do think it's a clear indication that training camps are going to start on time unless something really bad happens, and they're going to be on field. There's not going to be any virtual aspect to the early days of it.
Yeah, John, I saw that earlier as well, and we were talking about, the Saints were one of the teams, I believe, that was going to start allowing people into the complex. Here in Pennsylvania, though, the governor here has not allowed the teams Pittsburgh or the Eagles to actually show up at the complex, so nobody can go there yet. Meanwhile, in New Jersey, their governor has opened stuff up, and so the question is, virtual stuff was the thing for everybody, but now the virtual stuff seems to be moving into actual physical bodies in the building. Is there any way Governor Wolf will not allow the NFL franchises in this state, the Eagles and the Pittsburgh Steelers, to go back if the rest of the NFL facilities are allowed to go back and start working on ways to have mini camps and actual real competition?
I can't imagine it. It's a domino effect, and as you mentioned, Governor Murphy in New Jersey today said sports leagues can ramp up. New York, once that domino fell, from the NFL's perspective, their biggest concern is California, Gavin Newsom, and that's the last one. They don't want to open up facilities to players until every team is allowed back. So, yeah, as long as there's a couple stragglers, and right now Tom Wolf is still one of them, I can't imagine with New York and New Jersey falling, so to speak, that he would not follow suit. But stranger things have happened. I do know the NFL is probably more concerned about California than anything else.
Now, I know we've heard, or at least we went through the Miami Dolphins' their plan a week or two ago about putting people back in the stadium at much less than what the capacity is. What other teams are doing the same thing, John?
Well, everybody's got contingencies. That's been one of this thing where, for whatever reason, certain critics have said, why is the NFL going about things the way they are? They pretty much, and Roger Goodell has said in various memos to the teams to try to avoid hypotheticals. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You mentioned Stephen Ross. He's out there again today saying there's going to be fans. So certain organizations have not listened to his advice, but they've always had these contingencies, whether it's the schedule. They got criticized for just putting out a 16-game schedule, but there were some fail-safes in there in case it had to be pushed back. So they've been working with these contingencies behind the scenes, and that's part of it. Is it going to be no fans? Is it going to be certain number of fans? What happens if California doesn't allow NFL games in that particular state? Where do those teams play? And there were similar questions about Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, other hotspot areas, but those seem to be changing rapidly because, for whatever reason, whatever it's pressure, whatever you want to call it, those municipalities have started to admit that we're going to have to start this thing, and you're going to have to allow people to get back to at least some sense of normalcy.
NFL insider John McMullen joining us here on the radio, in the air, everywhere. Harry Mayes, Tony Bruno, Miss Robin, the whole gang here. All right, John, there's one interesting story I saw this morning from the Philadelphia Eagles camp. Their fourth-round draft pick, Kevon Wallace from Clemson, got a bat. I didn't know you could get tattoos during a pandemic, but he's got his whole back done with an eagle on it.
I don't think you're supposed to. Yeah. But
will he be shamed now when he goes onto the practice field with that gigantic eagle on the? And he's got a crown on there too. Did you see it?
It looks like a nice piece of art.
Yeah, it is.
It is a nice piece of art. I from I'm thinking, hey, look, you got to be realistic. And you see around the league, the Eagles are probably not the only team Kayvon Wallace is going to play for in his NFL career. I mean,
how do you know that? How do you know he doesn't become the next?
Hey, I hope he turns into the next Brian Dawkins.
Yeah, exactly.
Another Clemson safety that goes to the Hall of Fame. But hey, you talk about Brian Dawkins.
Yeah, he went to Denver.
His career,
yeah,
not Philadelphia.
So you're equating this to like getting your wife's name tattooed on your arm, and then you have a divorce?
You might have.
No, wait a minute, John. Wait a minute. I'm looking at this. I'm a tattoo expert. We've had ink masters in the studio with us here from Philly. That's not a Philadelphia eagle. That is just an eagle. It's not like the mascot on his back. It's not like having gritty on your back.
I get that part of it. So at least there's some caution involved. But, what are you going to do?
And it looks like he's going to have the Tiger King on the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it looks like.
He's got a tiger and an eagle intertwined.
And the tiger has a crown on.
Yeah,
right.
There's a
It's
Tiger King.
Yeah.
Hello.
See?
I know.
Clemson Tigers. See that?
Right.
There's a Clemson Tiger and eagle representation, but it's not the eagle is the symbol of America,
and
John.
It was the first team he was drafted. This is who he was drafted by,
So
that'll never
as long
change.
as he's not going to have buyer's remorse, I have no problem. And hey, maybe that's his mentality. Wherever he goes,
he's committed.
He'll have some kind of remembrance, and so that's the way he's going. I just hope he's not taking it as sort of that tattoo of your significant other, and you're going to have buyer's remorse.
No, because when anybody gets a girlfriend, wife, or any other woman or man tattooed, it's usually a little one, and you can cover it over.
Well, right.
There ain't no way that thing's getting covered over. That's his entire back.
Yeah.
Well, I think that he did make a comment because people were ripping him. And he said, that's who I was drafted by. That's who got me into the NFL.
And there's only one team that can draft him.
Exactly. So he
but he also said this is the best fan base I've seen. Incredible. Right up there with Clemson. So
that just says he's a smart kid. So I give him credit for that.
Yeah. Playing to the
fans.
But
you never know. Howie Roseman could, anger him at some point. He might have a totally different, like any relationship. It might turn ugly down the road. Hopefully that doesn't happen. It's much like our relationship, Tony. It just gets better and better.
That's why I don't have any tattoos. Now, I am thinking about getting my ears gauged. Because I think that's a good look.
That'd be a good look for you.
Because when you get older, you go into your 70s and 80s.
Mid-60s with a gauge.
That skin is sagging anyway, so it'll hold the ear together better. You know what I mean? And it'll be a cool look.
I think you shouldn't be allowed to get gauged until age 60. I think
agree.
That should be
I got to check to see if my Medicare Complete package includes gauging as part of the free services. Once we can go back to the doctors and go back to the hospitals.
Once you can go back for those types of procedures. You can't do that right now. Although, who knows, gauging might be something that's essential.
It is essential to some people. People need it. That's how you could put a little cord in there, and then you can have people, like when you have kids, you put kids on leashes now.
Right.
When the parents are trying to walk their kids.
Well, they should be.
Well, they
No, I didn't say that.
No. That was your out loud voice that said that.
I had an out loud voice earlier.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. So you live in New Jersey. How has the governor's restrictions affected you this past Memorial Day weekend, John?
Well, I was talking to Ryan Roski, and he lives down the shore, and he said it was just packed. So I'm hunkered at home with the wife and the family, so that's what I want to do anyway. It doesn't affect me whatsoever. But if I were in my younger days and I wanted to go down the shore or something of that nature, certainly sounds like, everybody's pushing back a little bit after 2 months. And I think that's part of the reason why you see the change or at least a little bit of shift in making these restrictions at least a little bit more tenable for people.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to keep people off the beaches. And people rely on their well-being. And I don't mean physical or mental. I'm saying businesses. I saw a story over the weekend that there are people upset. They're walking on the boardwalk and they couldn't buy flip-flops or any kind of beach wear. But then they can go off the boardwalk, go to a big box store or a big regular store and buy the same thing. So why are you punishing the people who have businesses on the boardwalk who make their living, and that's what they need the summer season?
They only have 3 months to do it anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. When you're allowing the same merchandise to be sold in the store right down the street off the boardwalk. Yeah. That's a legitimate concern and legitimate complaint by people whose lives are, their whole Their whole well-being is determined by how they can conduct their business or shut the thing down.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have pointed to the hypocrisy of that because through this whole thing, Walmart and box stores and, as you mentioned, Home Depot and Lowe's, you can go and it was packed. You can get whatever you want. And small businesses are going out of business because they can't open and they can't do the things they need to do. So there is a certain sense of why this, not and why that. And certainly people talk to the NFL, talk about the NFL and say, well, they make so much money that they get special consideration. I don't know if it's true, but I do know that it's pretty clear that you can just follow the money, and bigger entities don't have the same problems as small businesses, and they're the ones, when we look back on this 20 years from now, we're going to say, what the heck did we do to these poor people? But it's a tough problem. There's no question about that.
Well, getting it back to football, I did read your column today. By the way, you can check that out at phillyvoice.com.
Phillyvoice.com, his first 7,000-word column. I think that's extensive.
Is that how many words?
I think it was.
Yeah, I read
the New York Times has said, wow, we don't even write 7,000-word pieces anymore on our editorial page.
I read it from start to finish, and I was very interested in the Dak Prescott piece. You think this is all sort of a ploy by his agent to sort of do what Kirk Cousins did, right?
Yeah, I think, everybody looks at Mike McCartney and what he did and that's Kirk's agent and what he did with Kirk Cousins. And there's a couple points to it. I mean, as a player, you have to believe in yourself. You have to bet on yourself. Mm-hmm. But as long as you stay healthy,
right?
And Dak has been healthy. I mean, he's started every single game he's had as a professional. Even though he's banged up late last season, probably cost the Cowboys the NFC East title, but he played. And if he does that, I mean, the franchise tag this year is a little bit over $31 million. That will just go up in a second year. The third year would be completely untenable for the Cowboys from a financial perspective. And that's what Kirk Cousins did with the Redskins, and then he hit the open market. He's the first player in NFL history to get a fully guaranteed contract. That's, the worst-case scenario if you bet on yourself if you're Dak Prescott. Best-case scenario is you get a long-term deal, and you're the highest-paid player in the history of football, at least until Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes are up, because that's what the NFL is. It's about timing and circumstance. But he's going to make a lot of money no matter what, whether it's a franchise tag or a longer-term contract. And if they do sign a multi-year deal, they want it to be 3 or 4 years so they can hit free agency again. So that's what they're doing.
No, you're right, and I think the NFL has been fortunate during this whole thing because they got their season over, they got the Super Bowl over, and they got to do the draft and fix that accordingly. The free agent signings have been done. So I think the NFL, of all the sports in this country, were fortunate that this pandemic hit when it did after the season, after the Super Bowl, and now it looks like, based on right now and all the positivity that I'm seeing, because I don't look for negativity, I look for positivity, that we're going to see football in September. I don't think there's any doubt that we will see the NFL in action, and I'm starting to believe
Do you think
college
it starts
football,
on time?
It doesn't matter if it starts on September 1st or September 5th or the beginning of October. I think we're going to see football this fall.
And you'll see a full season.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, that's just my guess. That's my gut feeling.
This thing moves so fast. But the way we're moving today, as I mentioned, like I said, with Memorial Day, I couldn't have pictured Governor Murphy doing what he did today on Friday. That's how quickly things are moving. Mm-hmm. So there's no question, unless there's a second wave of this, and by second wave I mean significant wave, we're going to see NFL football. We're going to see a full season. I don't think there's any question about that.
I agree. And also, SiriusXM already has their big meeting with the NFL planned for next week to schedule Super Bowl festivities. So they're already planning ahead.
Yeah, but we already know when the Super Bowl is going to be and where it's going to be. And so that's not something. But the fact that the networks are sitting down, because the schedules have been released, we know when the games are supposed to be played and where they're supposed to be played. So they'll take that accordingly. But the fact that we're going to maybe see players in facilities instead of doing virtual coaching sessions through a computer screen and a Zoom session, there's no way you can learn through that.
Yeah, what a waste of time. And that's, I don't often advocate much that Sean Payton does, but I agreed with him. He was the one coach who said, you know what, stay ready, show up for training camp, and he skipped all the virtual stuff. I don't think that helps at all. I really don't. And, you know, Jason Kelsey kind of admitted that to us in one of the Zoom calls. Certainly for veteran players, that's not going to do anything for them. Now, there's some advantage for a rookie. At least he can look at the playbook. At least he can talk to the coaches. But, man, that stuff for veterans, that's just giving them busy work. But on the other hand, you could say, what was that, last weekend or the weekend before, 5 players got arrested. So if you got something to do, it's probably a good thing as well.
Exactly. The great John McMullen breaking it down. John, once again, the column, you can go to at Philly Voice, right, and read John McMullen's extensive NFL breakdown segment. Now, is that every Tuesday? Is that going to be every Tuesday in the Philly Voice?
Every Tuesday and every Thursday. You get it twice a week.
Twice a week.
Wow.
Twice a week.
I used to get it twice a week, too, and then you know what happens. I mean, what are you going to do?
You get older.
And days will go by too long. You go out, you got things to do.
Well, that's right. Talk to me in 6 months, and it'll probably be down to once a week.
Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. The man himself, the great John McMullen. Anything else that we may have missed, John?
No, you guys got it all, as usual.
Thank you. That's why we're here. Working hard for you.
I appreciate it.
John, have a great. We'll see you later on in the week.
Thanks, John.
All right, say hi to Charles.
We will. Charles Barkley will join us next hour. A lot to talk about with Charles, because you got one NBA player, Harry, who says, "Hey, if we're not going to be in the playoff situation, I ain't going to play."
Damian Lillard,
yeah,
right?
Dame,
yeah.
Up there with your Portland Trailblazers. That's an interesting conversation too, because the NBA looks like they haven't made any announcements, but the Disney thing seems to be the play.
Right.
Rather than going to 2 sites, Vegas and Disney, because Vegas is still shut down. Florida is pretty much opening up. And so now we know, and we'll see what happens. Because we told you what the NHL's plans are with the playoffs, 24 teams down to 16. The NBA, we don't know whether they're going to resume the season, finish it out, or just pick it up where they started and include a bunch of more playoff teams. I don't know if they're going to play in games. We'll find out. Charles Barkley will be on this next hour. We'll find out what he thinks is going on. I know he says they're going to play.
Yes.
But when and where, that's all still ahead. Tony, Harry, Miss Robin on SiriusXM 211.
Yay!
See what Dean, John McMullen, the hemorrhoid that just keeps on flaring up.
And then here, you'd get more than twice a week if you'd get your ass off of Twitter day and night. Ask the lovely Miss Robin. That's
I wasn't on Twitter all day at all yesterday until last night for a couple of minutes.
But my favorite, where is it?
I saw that.
Scrapple Joe. I'm hungry for an egg McMuffin now. McMullen, McMuffin. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, there's a liter bottle. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they're not big enough for Harry, Joe.
Harry, how long will that one of those babies last you?
A night?
Not one sitting, though. It's got to be a good...
it's a couple hours, man. It's a good 5-6 hours.
Big Dog X, they're still pressing ahead with building that new stadium, though. Whoops. What is that read? NBA playing the season. Tony, some casino restaurants are opening this week.
I know.
Yay.
I know.
Is Parks opening up?
Not that I know of.
I'll have to call.
Tone, what's that number you have on the index card?
57. 56, 57.
56, 57. Okay. So same thing.
Big Dog, they just raised the Oculus at the new LA Stadium. What's an Oculus?
That's the you know the Oculus, the one down at Ground Zero? That's called an oculus.
Oh,
so it's like
the
a gigantic
dome portion
type
of it
thing. Yes.
that they're then going to cover with whatever they're
Exactly.
going to do. Okay, gotcha. Ice Rink Ottawa. McMullen's tattoo should be a massive eagle eating an Egg McMuffin. That's funny. That's funny.
I wonder if what's the casino in the casinos? The hell was it? It was a real casino too, wasn't it? Then it was a fake name. It was a fictitious name.
Is it the Tangiers?
Tangiers, yes.
Oh, in the movie casino.
Yeah. That was old school. And then they show all the casinos being torn down for the new ones.
But the TV edit of that movie, because there's a thing where Joe Pesci's cursing out Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
And it's F-bombs, and the TV edit, they made it anti-Semitic instead. I'm like, that's better?
Yeah, there was a lot of Jewish anti-Semitic. The Jew, and De Niro, Pesci kept
but like
ripping.
the overdub was something worse, and like you could have, Mellon Farm release would have been nonsensical, but like not insulting.
No,
like
I
I remember
agree.
they made it something,
And I get it's supposed to be that time, and everybody. I said when I watched that movie, the one thing that happened to me, I had cancer from all the cigarette
Smoking,
smoke at the
I
end
know.
of 2.5
Yeah.
hours. How many cigarettes did De Niro smoke in that movie, man?
Constantly.
Every frickin' scene. And he wasn't faking it. You
No.
see a lot of people who are supposed to be
Right.
smokers, but you can tell when they're inhaling.
But the one thing, my takeaway from watching that movie recently, everyone is unhappy in that movie.
Yeah.
Like everyone is always looking over their shoulder. I'm like, why are you doing this? Because
I know.
none of this makes anybody happy. They're always
The only the funniest
way
part
of
of that
life.
movie was the one guy in the place where his mother was counting the money.
Yeah.
And every time he'd drop an F-bomb, she would give him a nasty look.
I think that might be Scorsese's mom.
Is that Scorsese's mom?
She was in a lot of his movies.
Okay.
She was also in a few movies on her own.
She was in Goodfellas.
Yeah, because
And some of the
she's in Muppets Take Manhattan, I believe.
The way she admonished her son was really
Yeah.
funny.
But that's regular old school
Yeah.
Italian moms when you curse in front of your mom.
See, I would not have appreciated that before being around Tony for the last 10 years and meeting Tony's mom, because now I totally understand. It really is that's the Italian.
Welcome back to the Tony Bruno Show with Harry Mayes on SiriusXM 211.
Tony and Harry having fun, talking about movies. I watched a couple of long movies over the weekend that I really didn't want to watch. I told you Casino.
Right.
And that's 25 years old. But I know there's some funny lines in it. The mom scolding her son who's cursing in the room when she's counting the money. That was the funniest scene in the movie, I thought.
I totally forget that scene.
It's the guy who's like in Jersey somewhere, who's not where
He's
Pesci
back
has
on
to
the
go
East
back.
Coast.
I thought he was in the Midwest because they keep on
I
sending him
thought
back
it's
and
Kansas
forth.
City.
Yeah, he is. Whatever
they're
he is.
in
He's not in
Kansas City.
Vegas. He's not in Vegas.
Yeah, he's in the middle of nowhere.
But those are the guys that really run the show.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And-
now I know what you're talking
And
about.
then they're eating
it
Italian
was because of him talking in front of his mother, where there was a bug in his store that they found out a lot of the information,
Right.
where they were
Exactly.
then
Yeah.
able to go after.
Yeah, they were listening
De Niro,
to
It
him.
was
to them.
Kansas City, but
Yeah.
to me it's too long. And that's why the other movie that's too long is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I watched that last night till 1 o'clock in the morning. The ending's good. The rest of the movie's like too long. Did you see that one?
No, I haven't seen that. That's is that the Tarantino
yeah,
movie?
it's Tarantino. The first 2 hours.
Brad Pitt's in it, right?
Brad Pitt
I think,
and,
Leonardo.
It was really
and DiCaprio,
slow.
yes.
It was slow, and it was not all that great. And then at the
They
very
could cut
end,
these. They could cut an hour from
Yeah.
all of these movies and stop making 2.5 and 3 hour movies.
But
I don't
then-
ain't got time for that, man.
But then you'd be staying up until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning anyway.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You just can't go to sleep.
He would just be able to fit in 4 movies then.
Exactly.
Half Baked is 80 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I want. Give me 90 minutes. When I'm looking through Netflix, if there's a
Right.
movie that's over 2 hours, anywhere near 2 hours, I got to look at the content and I say, no, I'm not watching a 2 hour. And that's without even commercials.
Right.
I will never watch a movie on regular television.
Oh, Casino with commercials?
Would be
it's about-
four
That's
and a half
that's
hours.
I think it's about 5. The Dark Knight is also like that.
Yeah.
Any movie
It's
that
just-
is on regular over-the-air TV, I will never watch unless it's on tape, and then you can fast forward. But the on-demand stuff, they screw you because you can't fast forward.
Sometimes
in a lot
you can't
of them.
fast forward, yeah.
That function is not available
Right.
during this film.
Right.
Guess what else is not available? This film. Get out. I pull a Harry Mays. I sometimes use profanity.
Well, I DVR'd the match, the golf match from over the weekend.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get into that with Charles, though.
And I zipped through the commercial. There was a lot of commercials on that.
Yeah,
they sold a lot of ads in that
sure
thing.
They did.
Well, they had to.
Yeah.
But no, it
Making
was
up
great.
for lost
that
time.
one worked, and we all suspected the same thing, right? Didn't we, Harry?
Yeah.
We said that the first one was bad with the professionals. None of them had personalities.
Yeah, that was. You're talking about the one last week.
Yeah, exactly.
Rory and DJ. Yeah.
All a bunch of robots with no personalities. And we also called it that Peyton Manning,
he would steal the show.
And then Tom Brady also helped steal the show unintentionally.
Well, yeah, it was
unintentionally.
splitting his pants and playing lousy golf for the majority
of the round.
of the round.
And the ratings for that were through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
Which just shows you don't have to be a golf fan. Tiger Woods is involved. There's going to be people watching. But when you have big-name celebrities and you have them mic'd up, that just shows you golf does not need a crowd. Of all the sports we talk about, Harry, golf,
definitely
you do not need a gallery.
Well, they tell you to be quiet anyway. So
exactly.
I have a question regarding Tom Brady's pants, though, because I was not able to watch the entire thing, and I did see the clip of him tearing his pants.
He bent over to pick up his ball, and they split.
And what happened for the rest? Did he just play with those pants for the rest of the match?
I think he did. I didn't notice any wardrobe change.
Did he bend over more like that?
He bent over to pick up his ball.
I know, but after that, were you able to see the fact that his
I
pants
didn't see
were
his
still
ball
ripped?
sack, if that's what you're asking. Was there any kind of...
there was nothing showing.
Was he going commando? Is that what you want to know?
No, I was just wondering if the cameraman after that point just said, okay, we're not going to shoot him from behind, so to speak. I'm just curious.
And I love all the people who post pictures of... Did you see this Land of the Ozarks in Missouri?
Oh, yeah, where all the people were in the pool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now all those people, everybody wants them dead. Jeez.
Dean said that he put on rain pants after that.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the other thing.
Well, that makes sense.
They had a
it was
delay and
weather.
the rain, and the same thing happened at the auto race in Charlotte, the Coca-Cola 600. But people want sports. You see the ratings going up. The ratings for The Last Dance were through. I'll tell you where the ratings are going to be bad. I didn't see the numbers yet on the Lance Armstrong two-part series. Did you watch any of that?
I didn't watch any of that.
I tried to watch it, and the woman who directed it and put the whole thing together, she said the only way that she can get Lance Armstrong to open up and have a personality and give her stuff is he had to work out before that she would interview him. He literally had to go into his gym and work out. If he didn't, he gave her nothing.
Really?
In all the time that she had to spend with him. But the one thing we learned, that as great of an athlete as he was, he's still not a sympathetic figure to me. I will have no sympathy because he used a lot of people. He denounced a lot of people who knew he was doping because all those bicyclists were doping.
Yeah, the whole sport is.
And then when he won 7 in a row, everybody's like, wow. Yeah. And then, of course, he had the testicular cancer, and he raised a lot of money for cancer charities. But the one thing to me that stood out during the entire thing, because nobody cared about the Tour de France. We had a lot of great American bicyclists before, but because he kept winning every year and beating all the rest of the world, he would call out people who accused him of cheating. And he ruined lives of people who were standing up to him. But he was so powerful, and he had his foundation, and he had, what's-her-face he was dating, with
Sheryl Crow.
Sheryl Crow.
Yeah.
So everybody, it was like you had to like Lance Armstrong because of the cancer charity, and everybody's wearing the.
Well, yeah, it wasn't cool to rip on him.
No, you're exactly
right. You know
right.
what I mean? Like you were a bad guy if you called him out.
Exactly. But I think the bottom line is we'll learn, and there's one more episode next Sunday. And I don't know if people were riveted to this like they were to The Last Dance.
I'll watch it between now and next week.
You watch it, but to me, we know what happened. We know what happened with the Bulls, but we didn't see the outside stories. We knew everything that happened with Lance Armstrong. We saw all the Tour de France's. We saw all the stages. We saw the awards. We saw the amazing stuff. But the bottom line is he destroyed a lot of people's lives. Even though he messed up his own life by doing the things he didn't have. He cheated. Because he knew that the longer he kept cheating, the more accolades he got, the more he was
the more
revered.
his foundation could earn.
Exactly. So that's the problem, and I think he's not even though we felt bad for him when he lost it, and he's even saying that the things that he took may have led to his testicular cancer. All the different stuff he was pumping into his body over the years. He said he started doping at age 21, and it wasn't just. Not just the testosterone, but a lot of other things he was putting in his body. Not only to be the best cyclist, but to get over the injuries and all the other stuff that he was injecting. So it's interesting, but we all know that cycling.
How long was it?
I think it was 2 hours. I didn't watch the whole thing.
2 hours?
I was 2
Yeah,
hours.
I'll give it.
I was shot by that point.
I'll give it 2 hours. Yeah,
I was shot.
The match averaged 5.8 million viewers across all of their platforms.
Yeah, no, it was the
impressive.
It was the
largest golf audience ever on cable.
On cable, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, of course,
That's
when you
awesome.
have the Masters and the other big ones on regular over-the-air TV, but this is on TNT.
Now, how much money did they?
$20 million.
That's
$20 million.
fantastic.
That is us. That is us.
By the way, lines are open if you would like to call in. The telephone number is 215-462-TONY. That's 215-462-8669.
Now, Joe Eunice's remote checks in.
Oh, boy.
He says, people want sports. Even a rerun of Ladybugs 2 is getting a 58 share these days. Ladybugs. Was there a Ladybugs 2?
Yes, there
I remember
was.
the first one. Wasn't that Rodney Dangerfield was a soccer coach?
It was soccer, right?
Yeah, he was a soccer coach for kids. I got to tell you.
Well, was he in both of them?
I didn't even know
I
there was a
don't know if
Lady.
he
was- I didn't even know there was
Was
a
there a
second one.
Ladybugs 2? I'll have to look that up. Ladybugs 2 is getting a 58 share. We got some birthdays to get to today, and of course, the top story, Harry. The top story: Gary Bettman, who will be dressed up. They say it's going to be a formal announcement today.
Yeah,
so he'll be dressing
4:30.
up in the full tuxedo, just like the Count from Sesame Street does.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't the Count from Sesame Street wear up the tuxedo? I think he
so.
does.
There was not a Ladybugs 2.
I didn't think so. Why would they make a sequel of an absolutely well, they made a lot of sequels of dismal movies, yes.
That
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything in Hollywood.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It probably lost money, so that's why they didn't make a sequel. But now, all these movies now that they can't put in the theaters, they're all on cable. They're all on demand right now.
The budget was $20 million, and it made only $14.5 at the box office.
So we had to give them.
Give them a loss, dog.
Give them a loss, dog. Still ahead on this program before we get out of here today. We got birthdays. We've got another insect to worry about, Harry.
Not the murder hornet.
Not the Asian murder hornets.
It's the plague. We officially have gone where this is now the third thing. There's the coronavirus, there was the murder hornets, and now
we have another plague. Does that mean end of days is near, Harry?
Well, it depends what it is.
Well,
is it in this country?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We'll tell you later on, Harry. We don't have time to get to it now.
Is it an insect or an animal?
No, it's an insect.
An insect.
It's an insect.
All right.
Well, let's try to squeeze in Blind Mike up there in Shamokin, Pennsylvania, because he too is under Governor Wolf's edicts to not go outside. Well, I guess you can go outside. Mike, can you go outside?
Yeah, as long as I'm okay. I mean, things are good. As long as that's the problem though. Like these. I tweeted the other day. I want to come home there, and it's like last week, and I tweeted and I said something about with the buses and stuff. I'm wondering. I guess this is my next. I'm really grateful, obviously, that we're going to be with Jersey doing with the the football and stuff. I wonder what the rules are for these buses that run to New York, like the ones that come from.
Yeah, like the
up
Mega
here.
Bus and the Bolt buses.
Yeah, I got to take the bus that goes there comes from here, like up around here, and then goes into Philly. It makes a straight shot from Allentown, makes a V line down the Blue Route to Philly, and then goes up the turnpike to go to New York. to
Mike,
Jersey.
I have
So
a
don't know.
recommendation.
What's up?
Do not come to Philly.
Yes, please.
It's a bad idea.
Stay up there in the country,
Stay
man.
up there in the country.
You're actually closer up. You're closer to opening. What phase
People
are you
are
in
trying
up
to
there?
leave, and you're trying to come down here.
Miss Robin's trying to Miss Robin's trying to keep me out of my own hometown. Like that. Whoa.
We're trying to get out of here.
I think Mike's area up there is in the yellow phase already.
you in the
I
yellow
believe.
phase up there?
Yeah. There's a few. Yeah, but there's so many. The problem is when I turn on my local news.
Don't do that
I'm
either.
Yeah, don't do that
Don't
either.
do that
No,
either.
well, the problem is, okay, the thing is, I'm not from here. So, like, when we got Service Electric last week, or beginning of last week, and, man, when I turned on Jim Gardner, his voice, oh, my gosh, it sounded so good. I was just like, oh, my God, thank God. Like, I actually heard some news that I could relate to, because I'm not from this area, so when they show the counties on the TV, I can't see it. They're not going to tell you every
Hey, Mike, I got to go to a break here, man. I appreciate you checking in. Sorry to get you on earlier, man. Be careful
You're
out
good.
there.
No,
Just stay in Shamokin. Don't come down.
don't
here.
come down.
Don't come down to Philadelphia or New Jersey. Stay out of those two states.
Just stay where you are.
Stay where you are. Stay safe. We're coming back. Charles Barkley.
Yeah, why would anybody want to come to Philadelphia now, of all times, when everybody's trying to move them out? Anybody that's listening wants to sponsor the show and knows what we're doing and how we're growing, and you happen to have a studio space that you would like to have studio naming rights in Florida, the Tampa Bay area especially, we're in. Let's talk.
Yes.
We're ready to move. If we weren't ready to move before this whole coronavirus thing and everything that's going on in this state, clinched it. Have show, will travel. Right, folks?
So what is this insect now?
It's the cicadas are coming back.
Oh, they are? Isn't that like every 17 years?
17-year ones are coming back.
The 17-year ones, and they're ready to pop. All over the U.S., right? It's not just in one location.
Yeah, that would probably be all over.
So you know what we're going to do? I have it all planned
I know
out.
that Sedona, we were there one year. Well,
there are different ones. There's all different cicadas in
Right.
different parts of the country.
Not
that come
John
out.
Cicada.
That's what I'm going to be playing.
I knew it.
You know which one I'm going to play, Harry? You know which one I'm going to play?
I have no idea.
You better have them ready, or do you want me to play it, Tony? So here, let me
No,
play.
I have it right here.
But you can't turn it up and down.
I've
Please
never
let
listened
me do
to
it.
John Cicada.
Which one do you want? Which one?
I'm free.
I'm free.
See, you see, I'm free.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very short intro on it, though.
I gotcha. I will have it ready.
I'm going to be playing. See, but you're giving away the punchline. I don't want people to know when I
Hey,
talk
it's only the people on our
What do you mean
in the
only
family.
the people on the Twitch stream?
No, but they're part of the family. You know, they're
I'm
smaller.
giving them like a
more
sneak preview, behind-the-scenes look
Exactly.
at what's coming up today.
It's a more intimate.
So we got two big birthdays today. You know who the birthdays are? I already told you. Stevie Nicks.
Oh, yeah, Stevie Nicks. That's right.
And
How
you know
old
who
is she?
72.
Wow.
I love Stevie Nicks.
Yes.
She makes everything look effortless, too.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lenny Kravitz today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was he 50?
I don't know how old he is, but I got a couple of Lenny Kravitz hits to.
I saw both of them live multiple times.
I saw, you know where I was used to run into Lenny Kravitz? There was a
Thank
bar.
you for following D-Self. What is that?
A bar in Santa Monica, a little dive bar, and he'd always be in there.
He's 56.
56, Lenny?
Yeah.
Okay, who's blocking? See, EKT 8750. Why are you blocked?
Welcome back to the Tony Bruno Show with Harry Mayes on SiriusXM 211.
Tony and Harry back together again after a long weekend. Hope you enjoyed it and hope you remembered it. I remember it. We got Brian Rothstein at the Wheels of Steel today, along with Joe C., Joe Kraus, Caleb Yarling out there in Indy, Naptown, baby. And, of course, Colin Farrell over in New Jersey, where he is making sure he wears a mask. The governor has tweeted out again, Governor Murphy in New Jersey. He did one of those clever tweets that people do every once in a while. He writes, "Wear a mask." That's it. That's the tweet. You know when people do that?
Sure.
And I wrote, "Get out." That's it. That's the tweet. And now I got a couple of hacks in New Jersey who follow me. "What are you telling everybody not to wear masks?" No, I'm not telling everybody not to wear masks, sir. You wear your mask and then put your head down underneath your lower area and bend and then pull your head up as far inside that orifice that you see, the first one you see, and then get back to me. All right?
That's disgusting.
What's disgusting?
That orifice.
Well, it's hard to do, so most people can't do it, but that's why I say it, because it's not that hard. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, Charles Barkley is going to join us this hour. We told you the big story, the hockey. Gary Bettman bringing back the boys into the barns. And I saw over the weekend, Harry, that I knew hockey was going to do it. You know why?
Why is that?
Because they're allowing players from other parts of the world to enter the U.S. right now during the time, like Canada. You're not supposed to go between Canada and the United States.
Right.
But there are essential things like trucks that are delivering goods to and from the two countries.
Yeah, they're exempting foreign-born athletes now.
Yeah, so
the players are now
athletes.
essential.
Mm-hmm.
They're not essential. They're allowed to come in to earn a living. Now, the guy who has a business down the street, he can't earn a living.
Yeah.
And that's the problem that people have. I think the players should be able to come in and get tested and everything else so they can go out and perform their jobs. But the people who have no jobs are the ones who are bitching the most. The people that don't care about jobs, that don't have a business, and don't give a crap about anybody else except themselves.
I think that anybody that is disparaging people that want to open up their businesses, they do not understand.
Of course not.
They've never owned a business. They don't know what it takes, that you put your life, sweat, and blood and tears into a business to make it work, especially if you're newer to it, and it's essential for you to get that business going. Otherwise, you're going to lose everything.
Yeah, but people who sit at home and complain and tell everybody what to do and shame everybody, they're the ones who have the least invested in this. That's the problem, Harry.
I know we're having our official legal counsel on the show today, Dan Lust, and I saw he tweeted that over the weekend.
Yes.
About the Secretary of Homeland Security signed an order exempting foreign-born pro athletes and staff from being denied entry into the country. And that's, he says, it's around 75% of the NHL players.
I know, are not in the country.
Right. And 25% in Major League Baseball.
And so that's a good story. That's why we're going to have Dan Lust on it in our final hour today, because there's a lot of legal ramifications. We know the Players Association. People, the baseball thing of all of them, Harry, that's the one that people don't want to hear about, because there's so much going on. And again, I don't think they're fighting over money anymore. I think both sides realize that they sound stupid.
Well, it's a bad look.
It really is, because you can't have super wealthy people arguing about money. And I think
with other even more wealthy people.
Exactly. Yeah. And the players playing Fortnite and stuff, they keep their yaps shut and just play and don't talk about anything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the bottom line is, baseball, to me, has done the most damage to itself and doesn't look like they're any closer. And I've been saying it for the last month. This first week, next week in June, the first week, June 1st is a big day. We've been talking about the teams allowing in the league, saying you're going to allowed to do this, allowed to do that. If baseball doesn't have its act together by next week in any kind of cogent plan,
they might run out of time.
You're right.
Yeah.
Then they won't even be able to have an 82 or 82 game schedule.
And anything less than 82, I think, is kind of pointless.
Exactly. So hockey's coming back. Gary Bettman announcing it today and laying out the 24-team playoff scenario, which we broke down. First round buys for the top 4 seeds in each conference, and then there'll be playoffs for 24 teams to get it down to 16, and then I guess they'll just resume the regular playoff format once you have the 16
get to 16
teams. Yes.
I would imagine.
But the 24 is just to allow some teams a chance to win, and I don't know if it's a best of 1 or a best of 3.
Yeah, we'll find out today, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we'll know about that and have it later on.
How great is that going to be, Tony? I know we've been, starving for any kind of sports, but to have the Stanley Cup playoffs, arguably the greatest tournament there is in professional sports in the summertime.
I know, that'd be fine
July
with me.
and August. And then we go to football.
I got plenty of ice. No, you're right. We were going to have an overload of live sports.
Right.
We're going to go from watching Korean baseball to Bundesliga soccer to watching made-for-television events and documentaries into, oh, my God, we got hockey, we got baseball, we got basketball.
I don't have enough networks.
We got football, we got college football. Wow. We will be able to complain about bad coaching decisions, bad management decisions, bad free agent signings, bad draft picks in a matter of months, Harry. Who knew?
It's going to be great.
Tony, speaking of things that you won't be upset about, Father's Day coming up, and Dean Loudbags on the Twitch room is reminding us that he is a new business. His Loudbag golf bags. He's only been in business for 18 months, and we're doing another giveaway for Father's Day.
Father's Day?
Yes,
nice.
We are going to have another Loudbag giveaway for Father's Day, which is June 21st. And so we're going to do that soon so that somebody will be able to either, if they're a father, give it to themselves or give a beautiful Loudbags golf bag to a dad out there.
Beautiful. I get screwed on Father's Day. Well, I should. I'm a dad.
Yeah,
I mean, after all. And I I wouldn't be a dad if I didn't get screwed or screw.
Right.
But the bottom line is, it's like Robin's birthday is December 19th.
Oh, you got it right.
Right?
And
so,
then Christmas a week later.
Right, and then so you get screwed growing up. You know, you don't get 2 presents. I'm in the same thing. My birthday's the 13th, and then Father's Day is the next Sunday. So I get shafted too. I don't get the birthday and Dad's Day combo. I get a combo deal. I don't get 2 separate gifts.
Right.
And that is an absolute outrage. Even President Obama this morning had a news conference to announce.
It's an outrage.
It is an outrage.
I can do the same thing you did to me, right? Since you said that.
Yeah, you don't have to get me anything for Father's
You're not.
Day. Although I am your daddy every once in a while.
No, Poppy.
You've called me Poppy.
Yeah, you might be.
Hi, Poppy.
I know, but
but no. The whole daddy thing is
Father's
creepy.
Day is a little late this year.
It is late. No, it's always on the Sunday, the 3rd Sunday in June, isn't it?
Yeah, but usually it's like around the 14th, 15th usually.
I don't know if it's an actual date. I think it's
the
21st.
21st.
It's the 3rd Sunday.
Yeah.
Summer. It's actually the day after summer begins. Did you realize that, Harry?
And no, Dean, you are not eligible to win again.
No, Dean is not. He will be. That he already
He's
got
exempt.
He's got a $530 bag, or bag, as we used to say. Jeez. Anyway, the match 2. We'll talk about that with Charles.
Right.
There was even there was Eagle talk in there too. There was that one part where Tom Brady and Peyton Manning are going back and forth.
the little trash talk.
Yeah, the trash talk
Nick
was great.
Foles came up.
Yeah, no, because Peyton Manning says he could have gotten Eli Manning or Nick Foles to caddy for Tom Brady. And then Brady, there was a Falcons ref, and he says, no, it's not the Falcons I'm worried about, it's the Eagles, or something along those lines.
Yeah, they live in his head.
The Eagles live in
How
his
about
head,
that?
yeah. Because he won that 28-3 Super Bowl against the Falcons, so he obviously isn't worried about the Falcons. And then you had Sean Payton chiming in on Twitter saying, I like the Florida Tom Brady, meaning he was really stinking up the course.
He's no good. He actually, the first 6 holes, he was brutal.
It was a
and then he
disaster.
made that miraculous shot on 7 where he spun it into the hole. And he made a putt on the back 9, and he had another really good swing on the back 9. But other than that, he didn't do anything.
He was brutal.
Yeah.
Every Muni hacker out there
felt pretty good about
because
themselves.
here's the greatest quarterback, arguably, of all time.
And he says he's an 8 handicap.
And it's the same thing with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. He's decent on the golf course. He's not great. And when you're great at one sport, and it happens to a lot of athletes.
People think you're naturally great at everything.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of great athletes in their individual sports. They go on the golf course, they stink out loud.
Right.
And Brady, do you believe that he's an 8 anywhere on earth?
Well, not at Medalist, he's not.
No.
I mean, that place is tough.
No, I know it's tough.
Yeah.
He's probably just he probably breaks 90 every once in a while if he doesn't cheat. Now, if he cheats.
No, if he's an 8, he's definitely in the 80s.
Well, he's supposed to be, yes.
Definitely, he's probably breaking 80 sometimes.
He should be.
Yeah. But not this weekend, he didn't.
No,
Now, Joey Bonocco is saying that, remember, Brady hadn't played golf in 6 months.
What do you mean he hadn't played golf in 6
months? That's what he said, that Brady had not played golf in 6 months prior to this.
What's he been doing? Football's been over for almost 6 months.
And he's down in Florida where he's out working out with his teammates. You think this is coming up.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you go out and hit a couple balls?
You would
Wouldn't
think.
you go out and play a couple of rounds?
You would think.
So we're saying that he didn't take it seriously?
No.
Jeez. Anyway, enough about that. We'll talk about it with Charles Barkley because he did a brilliant job. Charles Barkley should be doing analysis on every sport, not just the NBA, but now golf.
The PGA Tour.
I agree. They need him in the booth.
Him and Romo.
Him and Romo in the booth.
Right.
And I think golf is now getting a rude awakening because golf, unfortunately, Harry, as you know, as a player, it has this reputation of stodgy old white guys sitting around.
Right.
Exclusive country clubs. Now, that made it look like the average guys who go out on Saturdays with their friends who aren't great golfers, but, like to play, like to go out there for 5 hours.
Peyton looked pretty good.
Yeah, well, he's good.
Yeah.
He knew he was good going out there. You think he's not playing? He's doing all these TV shows and all these different documentaries, and he still goes out and hits the ball around.
He's a member at like 4 or 5 different clubs.
Member at Augusta down there.
Yeah.
He and Hootie sitting in a smoke-filled room down there. In the Butler cabin here. How many times do you think Peyton Manning goes to the Butler cabin and hangs out with Hootie and the guys?
I would imagine not enough. He probably would like to go more.
Exactly. So we'll talk to Charles Barkley. He likes hockey, too. And I'm sure he's excited about the return of all sports.
Going to give him something to bet on.
Exactly. Although he's one of the guys, he and Shaq were saying they shouldn't come back. So we'll find out whether Charles, he says they're coming back.
Well, that was the NBA, yeah, right.
The NBA,
right.
I'm talking about the NBA,
right.
obviously. He says the NBA is 100% coming back to finish the season in the playoffs. We'll ask him when he joins us next. Charles Barkley, the whole bunch of stuff. And we'll talk about the NBA and the golf and him being a guy who should be on every broadcast on every Sunday, even with no NBA. Tony and Harry, we'll have the latest infestation sensation sweeping the nation. An update on that. Something else for you to worry about. And we'll have
Dan Lust in the 5 o'clock
Dan
hour.
Lust. I'm looking at some of my other notes on things we may be missing. And we have the first pumped-in crowd noise story of the weekend. Somebody's going to pump in crowd noise. You know where they did it? In soccer. We'll have that. Plus the talk of NFL and other sports may be pumping in fake noise if they're playing without fans. We'll talk about that all still ahead. Tony, Harry, the whole gang. Stick around.
Motivate.
Joey Gallagher says, you guys follow my normal foursome around courses in the Delaware Valley. Quality product of all sorts are being indulged, and low 80s golf, along with some good tunes. Well, you got to have the good tunes. I like people now on Twitter telling me that I'm absolutely clueless when it comes to COVID-19, Harry.
Boom, boom, boom. Dean Loudbacks. No one in the Tampa area can win. See, Dean, even if your name by some miracle were to come up on the same random, you're automatically discontinued. We draw another name. Boom. Sorry. And honestly, there's no way that you could win. That would, your luck. You should be buying lottery tickets if your name came up again. Hello, S. Falcon. Oh. Okay, I need to get this on. Charles. Sir Charles Barkley.
Well, of course, Clemson Stadium is bigger than the Link.
Yeah, that seats about 80 plus, I think.
Yeah, most of those big school programs have bigger facilities.
It might even be more now.
Now, the photo that I'm going to be putting up is with you and Artie, the one-man party.
And Charles?
Yeah.
Charles?
Charles.
Who's this Doja dipshit chick with the gigantic forehead?
Who?
I don't know.
Doja doll? Who the hell is this? Bhutan. Look at that.
See? I think they even dropped a Bhutan in Casino, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, they dropped everything in there.
I wonder if Joe P. is still doing the Tahoe
I'm sure there's not going to be one this year.
No, but we need to get back on that rotation. I think Harry wouldn't mind having to do a remote in Tahoe for the Celebrity Golf Tournament.
No.
It's a good time.
It is. It is a fantastic time, and I would love to see Artie again. Haven't seen him since his wife passed away. Robin, did you see the text message? No, I did not. Dean, let me check. Oh, God, I have tons of text messages. Good Lord.
Well, at one point, even Nick Foles tweeted out that
Oh,
he could
crap.
come out there and help Brady. Did you see that? That tweet? Foles tweeted in it, too. Are you calling Charles or is he calling us?
Welcome back to the Tony Bruno Show with Harry Mayes on SiriusXM 211.
This is the show where we think positively, and we have from day one. While everybody else is panicking and telling you to be afraid and do this or do that, we don't tell anybody what to do here. We just try to enjoy life every single day, Harry. We don't, you don't know when it's going to end. Everybody's going crazy, ratting everybody out, shaming people publicly. Jeepers, relax, people. Just that's the biggest thing that bothers me about this pandemic, is seeing people's true colors when it comes to rooting against fellow citizens because they're yelling. Did you see that supermarket in Staten Island where all those people were yelling at the one woman who walked in?
Because she didn't have a mask,
yeah.
I think.
And again, she should have a mask
Right.
on. But to have people gang up on her, I thought Rich Kotite was in there. When I think of Staten Island, who do you think of, Harry?
Kotite is one of the guys that comes to mind.
Rich Kotite with his chart that was dripping because
laminated.
of the rain.
He needed it laminated.
Yeah, he made an excuse when he was coaching the Eagles that he couldn't see the play calls on his sheet because it started raining.
And the ink smeared.
So he didn't know which plays to call, and that's why the Eagles sucked under Rich Kotite, even though he had some pretty damn good players, including Reggie White. And then he had to get his play sheet laminated. That's what Staten Island represents to me, Harry. Not all bad people in Staten Island, but Rich Kotite. Terrible coach. Now, Rich Eisen's not from Staten Island, is he? I thought he was from Redding, California.
I'm not sure.
Redding, Redding.
I know he went to Michigan.
I know that, but I thought he was from he was from Redding, unless he moved there as a child. But anyway. So we're going to get Charles here in a second. Charles Boss. See, he said 4:20, and he's calling us at 4:19.
Right, he's on time, man.
He's right on time.
He's a pro.
He is a pro.
Yeah.
That's why he's a professional. That's why everybody wants them on their show. And that's why he's finally back on the show for the first time since we're on Sirius Satellite Radio, SB Nation Radio, Twitch. Ladies and gentlemen, the man, no matter what they're paying him at TNT,
it's not enough.
It ain't enough. The man who single-handedly saved golf, along with Peyton Manning and
Tiger Woods.
Woods.
Guy, Tiger Woods.
Yeah. The great Charles Barkley. Chuck, how are you, man?
What's up, brother?
I haven't seen you, man. I've been trying to get you on the show for a couple months, man. You've been ducking me.
Hey, man. You didn't try during the quarantine. You tried when I was busy. Hey, so now when I'm not busy, I'm glad. Hey, man, hold on one second. Hey, my alarm is going off. Can y'all call me back on the? Because I had my alarm set to do you guys, and my alarm is in the background. Can y'all hear this?
No, I don't hear the alarm at all, man.
Okay. So, hey, first of all, before we do say anything else, these jackasses at ESPN doing what they normally do. So, there's this story out that Michael didn't want Isaiah on the Dream Team. So I guess there's some tape to prove it. Have you guys heard that?
I saw that this morning on ESPN.com. Yeah, that's one of the top stories there. And we're
Okay,
still
but let me
rehashing
tell you something.
We're still rehashing The Last Dance, Charles?
No, I don't mind rehashing Last Dance, but I want to make one thing perfectly clear. You see in there, see, ESPN didn't even call me, because they're jackasses sometimes, they didn't even call me to get to say anything. You know that Chuck, that they say, Chuck don't want Isaiah on the Dream Team? Can y'all hear me?
Yes, I hear you. I remember.
That's Chuck Daly.
Right, it's not Charles Barkley.
Yeah, everybody calls you Chuck now, and everybody thinks it's Chuck because everybody calls you Chuck.
Right.
I've called you Chuck forever because that's what I've always called you.
Yeah, but I'm saying, ESPN saying, because I guess Michael did something with Jack McCallum, and they got him on tape saying he didn't want Isaiah on the team. And then somebody says something, well, Chuck doesn't want Isaiah on the team. And ESPN just say, Yeah, and Charles Barkley didn't want to. First of all, that's Chuck Daly. But see, that just pisses me off because I've said, and I'm telling you guys, and I've said this 100 times, I was never asked about Isaiah Thomas on the Dream Team. I want to make that clear. So it just pisses me off that now I'm going to have to answer some stuff probably the next few days. Listen, whatever Michael said, and they got it on tape. Clearly, he lied during the Last Dance. But I want to make it clear on that tape when they're talking about Chuck did not want Isaiah. They're talking about Chuck Daly. So, man, I'm glad you guys let me get that off my chest.
No, I'm glad, and I saw the story. Michael Jordan supposedly told Rod Thorne.
Rod Thorne, yeah.
Yeah, who was part of the
So that was just
basketball.
bad reporting on ESPN's part.
Thank you.
Bad journalism. They didn't do the research. They didn't clarify.
Well, you know how it works. Charles, they're trying to milk this thing for everything they can get because it got great ratings.
And there's nothing else to talk
about. And they're trying
about.
to steal your thunder after you saved the world of golf over the weekend, man.
Hey, man. Hey, let me tell you something. That was one of the most fun things that I've done on television. It was a great weekend. All four guys made it fun, raising $20 million. But, we knew that Peyton and Phil were going to do their thing. Tom surprised everybody. He don't normally let his guard down. He was awesome. He stuck it to me pretty good with that birdie. Tiger was pretty good also.
He was good.
Yeah.
He
but,
was
man,
good.
Isn't Peyton the best?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Peyton is just the best.
No, you're actually the best. I think Peyton's trying to be like you. But no, Peyton's naturally funny,
He's very
too.
entertaining.
He's like you, man. You guys just naturally are funny. You don't have to worry about making sure you don't say the wrong thing. And we all say the wrong thing sometimes. But if you be yourself, man, be true to yourself, and that's what you do, and that's what Peyton does.
Well, if you don't take yourself that serious, if you watch Peyton, listen, every time when I sit down with a company that I'm going to do their commercials, the first thing I say is, hey, how can we make the commercial funny? Our job is that we're trying to sell a product. Let's make people laugh. And clearly, if you watch Peyton, I don't think anybody has done a better job than Peyton, who, when he makes a commercial, they're all hilarious. Even going back to when he hosted Saturday Night Live, you can see, man, he understands, like, hey, I'm a football player. Let me make people laugh and have some fun. And that's when you make the best commercials.
He's got really good comedic timing, though. And I think it's natural.
Well, come on now, stop that. We all got comedic timing. We do the same damn shot over and over and make it funny. Stop it.
Wait a minute, not everybody has the same comedic sports talk radio talent that I do, Charles.
Hey, first of all, you are correct, because you don't get to take your show over.
That's right.
If you came, listen, hey, when I first started making commercials, I said, man, it's going to be some hard work. Oh, no, it's not that hard. We're going to keep doing it till you get it right.
That's right. You can't do this on live radio. When you stink on live radio and you make a mistake, the stank is always there, man.
It's out there.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I got to tell you something. I found out a lot during this pandemic that there's a lot of guys got zero talent on radio and TV because some of this stuff, they're just making up stuff to talk about. I mean, a couple of months ago, they were like, who's more responsible for the Patriots' success, Tom Brady or Bill Belichick? I'm like, that's not a real subject, is it? And these guys talked about it every day, and I'm like, come on, man. I know y'all are desperate. Can't y'all come up with something fun to talk about without, listen, Tom's the greatest football player ever. Bill's the greatest football coach ever. But I hate, and this, I'm really, between Michael and LeBron, since 30 for 30 came out, they've been driving me crazy. Hey, Michael, in my opinion, is the greatest basketball player ever. The closest I've ever seen to him is Kobe Bryant. And LeBron is great also. We don't have to make up stuff. There's enough stuff that happens in sports.
But, Charles, you know what happened, and I said this because I got hired to be on SiriusXM and SB Nation Radio while everybody was having no sports to talk about. People are firing people at radio and TV stations, and they hired me. You know why? Because I'm not blowing my own horn here, but they said if anybody can talk about things other than sports or make it entertaining when there is no sports,
No, they
that's what you
specifically
have
said
to be
if
able to
anybody can talk about nothing, it's Tony Bruno.
And so we didn't resort to that. They're still here in local Philly radio. They're still debating Nick Foles over Carson Wentz. That's topics for weeks and weeks. They keep talking about that stuff, man.
You are correct. But, Tony, listen, man, nobody can keep a job as long as you have unless you got some talent. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. Not that wouldn't be fun. Anytime somebody blows smoke up your ass is a lot of fun. But nobody, no, seriously, though, nobody can be in the business as long as you've been in the business if you don't have talent.
Well, I blow smoke. Whenever you and I get together, we're smoking up in Tahoe, cigars. We're blowing smoke up each other's asses all the time.
Well, first of all, please don't bring up Tahoe right now. I'm already depressed that I'm going to be working my ass off all summer. Number one, they ruined the whole summer for me. Now they ruined Tahoe for me. Like, it's going to suck to be working all summer. That's the one thing that was great about, number one, playing in the NBA and having a TV job. You get the entire summer off to play golf and fish. And now, I can see now I'm going to be stuck on TV all summer, so it's going to suck.
That's the real reason why Shaq and you didn't want the NBA to come back, isn't it?
Hey, it's really, listen, it is what it is. I just worry about the player safety. That's my biggest concern. Man, this thing has been so sad and so bad. I feel obviously blessed the frontline workers and the nurses and everybody who's lost somebody or got sick. But, man, this thing is so dangerous, and I don't know how you can make it safe. They're looking at putting these players in a bubble for 2 to 3 months. And, my first question is, what happens if a guy tests positive? They got to forfeit the series, don't they? We can't stop the playoffs every time. If we stop the playoffs every time a guy tested positive, we might not ever play. We might not ever finish the season.
Yeah,
So
but you know what they're doing though, Charles. It looks like the original plan that if one person gets sick, they shut everything down. Even baseball, which has been the worst as far as trying to get something done, they're saying now that if a player gets sick, that player then is taken off the team, and that's why they're going to have 30-man rosters. But baseball has been the slowest on this, and they've got the biggest mess. But hockey, the commissioner today is saying they're going to bring hockey back, and they're going to have 24 teams. And I know you're a big hockey fan, Charles.
Hockey. The Stanley Club playoffs are the best sporting event in the world. But let me tell you something. You can have 100 players on a team in the NBA. If you lose Giannis, LeBron, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, it don't matter about those other 99. So, like I say, that's my biggest concern. First of all, I don't think you can quarantine one player. I don't think you can. I think if one of your players gets sick, I think you got to take you probably exposed to yourself to the rest of the team.
Yeah, but they're going to test these guys. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I see that if one player turns, because they're going to test people all the time, because as the more we go into this, we're seeing more and more rapid tests available. And so what I'm hearing is one player tests positive when he walks into the facility, he immediately gets put in. See, because you can't put healthy people in quarantine and then keep the sick people out. You've got to quarantine the sick people and keep the healthy people out there and keep testing them. That's the way I think they're going to do it.
Yeah, but my point is, if you lose LeBron or Anthony Davis or Kawhi, if you lose them for 2 games in a series, the series is over.
I hear you.
So that's the thing. That's the thing that scares me. If Giannis or LeBron or somebody like that, if Giannis, God forbid, number one, God forbid, if Giannis gets sick and has to miss the first round of the playoffs, the Milwaukee Bucks are not going to win. They're out.
Yeah.
And what about something like the hotel maids? Are we testing the hotel maids every day? Are we testing the people at room service every day? It's to me a lot of unanswered questions. So that's what scares me. Because God forbid one of these guys get their wife or girlfriend or one of their kids sick, or their mom and dad or grandparents. I think that just would not look good for the league.
So let me ask you again. You said it earlier. Shaq said it. They shouldn't bother to even finish this season. Do you still believe it? I know you said that they are going to play. Do you still believe that it's not worth playing?
I don't think it's safe to play. That's just my personal opinion. Listen. I'm 100% sure they're going to play, just from what I'm hearing from my people. But I just don't listen. I just don't know how it's going to be safe. I really don't. I would hate for something bad to happen, but like I say, I'm concerned about the safety, and I'm concerned what I said a few minutes ago. I would hate to see one of the stars get hurt and they lose in the first round or second round of the playoffs to an inferior team. That wouldn't be fair at all.
What do you think is going to be the toughest sort of rule to adhere to for these guys if they do get together for 2 months in Orlando and try to play it?
Staying, eating rule, and then, with all the crap that's going around and people sick and everything, thinking these young guys going to stay in the hotel, not see their families for 2 to 3 months. I know that sounds simple, but I'm not sure guys want to do that. I think that's a very this is so complicated because I tell people I don't think there's any. Tim Kirchner had the best line ever, and I got to give him credit. He says all these ideas are bad. We just want to take the bad idea and go play. So there's no good idea with this pandemic. It's really tough. It's really sad. A lot of people are going to lose their businesses. A lot of people have already died. There's no great ideas. We just going to have to we just going to have to play sports and take the best bad idea.
Now, Chuck, do you think part of your thinking is because you had your own coronavirus scare?
I was never worried, to be honest with you. I just listen. Tony, I got a new product for you to try too.
What is it? Is it hair stuff? What is it? Testosterone?
No, you don't need hair stuff. Hey, hair is overrated. I bought a vodka gin distillery in Alabama, so I got to get you some product.
Oh man, we drink vodka every week on the show, man. We're looking for a vodka sponsor.
This is gin, though. I think
that vodka and gin.
No, I got vodka and gin.
Oh, okay.
So what happened? To answer your question, so I'd been in Alabama for the weekend, opening up the distillery. So I signed autographs for a bunch of days, sold hundreds and hundreds of cases to my Auburn people. Shout out War Eagle.
War Eagle.
And then I had parties every night giving people free vodka. And I did that for 3 days. It was long days. Then I flew to New York to do Colbert. And by the time I got to Atlanta, I was completely exhausted and didn't feel good. And they said, well, you should take a test. I said, I feel fine. I'm just exhausted. So I took the test, and I got stuck in my damn condo for 10 days. I thought I was going to kill myself. I was insane, being in a little small, confined space. So I took the test for TNT. It took 10 days. When I got it back, because I felt better after I got a couple of days good night's sleep. But I was never worried. Like I said, I felt better like 2 days later. I was just exhausted. But I'd be honest with you, the only person I know that is Patrick Ewing, who has gotten the virus. I don't think I've been in Arizona for the last 2 months, and I don't know any person who has the virus, thank goodness. And other than reading about talking to Patrick, he's the only person. What's really ironic about it. So I don't know if you guys heard the story. I was doing Buster Olney's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So when it first came out that I was quarantined, I got a call from Mike Trout, and I thought he was calling to see if I was all right. And he was calling to see did I give him the virus when I spoke to the Angels team. And then Patrick Ewing, I saw Patrick in New York because he was playing in the Big East tournament, and we sit around and talked a little bit, and I saw his team. So Patrick and Mike Trout are calling me every few days for my result. And after about the fourth or fifth day, I was feeling awful. I'm like, I got the best baseball player in the world and a really good friend who happened to be one of the greatest basketball players ever. They're calling me waiting on my results and making sure they don't have it. And I'm getting pissed at the hospital. So when I got my results, the first two people I called were Mike Trout and Patrick Ewing.
I can understand it.
Oh, yeah. But now I saw last week that Patrick got it somewhere else. And he's home doing good now, thank goodness.
Charles Barkley with Red Mountain Vodka. Now, is that made in Homewood? What part of Alabama? I know you're from Bessemer, right?
No, I'm from Leeds. That's Bo Jackson. Hey, don't confuse me and Bo Jackson.
Leeds. I lived in Birmingham for 2 years back in the day. I was all over the mountain. No, you were an over the mountain guy, though.
No. Leeds is not over the mountain. It's at the bottom of the mountain. But hey, I tell you what, man, I'm gonna have to get y'all a few bottles. We're doing really, really well. We had a really great charity thing. We started the hospitality fund to raise money for the people who work in the hospitality industry because, man, they're really struggling. And Redmond, we've been at the forefront raising money for the hospitality fund. It's in Avondale. We're up and running. We're doing great under the circumstances. And, I just want to own a business in my home state. I have been looking for different investments. First of all, the reason because the mayors in Birmingham sucked, number one. They were awful. But I've been trying to open up a business in Birmingham for the last really close to 40 years, and the mayors were awful. And we finally got a mayor who's trying to actually do some good stuff and not line his own pockets. The other mayors were just lining their own pockets, wasn't trying to help anybody. So I finally got me a decent mayor. So, hey, I got a distillery. We do vodka and gin, and I promise y'all I'm going to get y'all, once we get through this pandemic, I'm going to send y'all some samples just to have some fun with it.
Oh, man, I love vodka. Harry and I drink vodka. We just got a case of Tito's. Our boss bought us a case of Tito's because we need product every Friday because we drink
we
vodka.
Have a happy hour.
We have a happy hour every Friday. So we need some vodka, Chuck. Well,
I tell you what, Tito's is a very good product. I'm not going to bash the competition, but I'm going to get y'all some Redmond vodka. I'm not a big gin drinker. But
Robin likes gin, though. Robin likes gin. We like vodka.
Well, she's got to drink to kiss you, so I understand that totally.
No, we only kiss with my mask when we have our masks on, Charles.
No, but man, hey, Tony, I meant what I said earlier. Man, for somebody to be in the business as long as you are, you got to have a lot of talent. Because hey, in this business, when it comes to entertainment, if you ain't good at it, you won't be around long. Hey, and Tony, me and you've been in this thing a long time. We've seen a lot of people come and go.
You're absolutely right about that, man. I saw I go back to when you were drafted. I remember yelling at you during the Dream Team in '92 about you and Michael going gambling every night down in Monte Carlo when I had you on the air doing a midday show in Philly.
What's wrong with going gambling? We were in Monte Carlo.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. No, there's nothing wrong with it.
Well, speaking of gambling, though, how have you been satisfying your gambling itch with no sports?
Well, number one, I really only bet on football.
Okay.
So really that don't bother me. But it has really sucked. They're not going to a casino. It's been brutal. That's the thing that's been brutal. But you know what? I think I told a friend of mine, Roy. He says, hey, you think I got a gambling issue when 3 casinos sent me the same email? Hey, we open in June the 1st. We'll have a private airplane waiting on you at the airport. I was like, man, and then I had 3 casinos send me emails and we're opening June the 1st, and we'll have a plane waiting on the tarmac for you. So,
and we're not even going to be able to go to Tahoe and play up there and gamble.
I'm not. See, that's the thing, Tony. Tahoe, we're going to be playing all summer, so I'm screwed on Tahoe.
Man, that's one of my favorite events. I haven't been there. We haven't been there in a couple years, and that's one of my favorite events every year.
And it's a photo, because we're live on Twitch as well. I posted a photograph of you, Tony, and Artie Harvey. It's the three bald dudes. And actually, Tony, living in California, he was almost as dark as you guys.
Yeah, I was nice and dark and lovely then because I was living on the West Coast, not in Philly.
Well, as you know, Tony, that is the best week of all of our lives, that week at Lake Tahoe.
Oh, yeah.
It's the only place in the country that's not hot. It's hot as hell. I don't even know how Tahoe does it. It's a heat wave across the whole country, and you get to Tahoe, and it's 70 degrees with a little breeze off the water. It's just a great way to spend a week. We play golf. We love to gamble. We karaoke every night.
Yep.
and I was holding out hope against hope that they were going to still hold a tournament, which they probably are. But look like I'm going to be down at Mickey or somewhere like that.
Now, because I want to see you and Tom Brady. That should be the next televised event.
Golf match.
You and Tom Brady. I know you challenged him, and so are you going to play golf against Tom Brady one-on-one?
Hey, anytime, anywhere. I want some of Tom Brady. Anytime, anywhere.
Based upon the way he played over his first 6 holes, did you think he was nervous?
Oh, I think him and Payne were both nervous. First of all, I think even when I play with a great player, like I played with Joe Smith, the pitcher, Justin Verlander, and Dustin Johnson Saturday. And I get nervous playing around Dustin because, first of all, it's ridiculous how great he is and how far he hits the ball. But anytime I play with a pro, I'm a little nervous. I talked to Grant Hill one day. He said, I was playing with Adam Scott and Justin Rose because he got a house down in their development. He said, man, it was really weird. I was nervous playing with those guys. I said, dude, anytime you play with a pro, you know they're going to be great. It is nerve-wracking. So they were nervous playing with Tiger and Phil. But, man, I want to give those guys so much credit because I told you, I said it a couple times on the air. I don't know if y'all could see how hard it was raining. Man, it was raining so damn hard down there, and those guys never complained. It was getting dark quickly. But we raised $20 million, so that's great. But I give those 4 guys a lot of credit for playing, not complaining in the rain. It was pretty awesome.
Great stuff, Charles. It's always great to talk to you, man. I've got to get you back on more often since you're going to be working this summer. I had Ernie on. I've had everybody else on. And, by the way, Ernie did a great job at the beginning of the broadcast talking about why he couldn't be there. And his son, Michael, has muscular dystrophy, and he didn't want to engage, possibly have his young son pick up a situation where his respiratory illnesses, he's in a ventilator. And so I'm sure you and everybody else had to feel good about Ernie Johnson, who we all love, not being able to be there.
Yeah, Ernie, he's the best. He's the godfather. But I got to tell you something. That was my first time working with Brian Anderson. He was awesome, man.
He did a good job.
Trevor Everman. And Justin Thomas was really good, too.
Yep.
He sucks as a coach. But he did a fantastic job as an analyst. He should never go into coaching, but as an analyst, he's got a very bright future.
Charles Barkley, his future, he's had a great past, and he's got a great future. He's the best there is. Chuck, always good to talk to you, man. Thanks for popping on with us today.
Hey, man, brother. Hey, y'all, please be safe out there. If anybody, y'all thank for the first responders and the nurses, but you guys be safe and keep your social distance. And, hey, are y'all wearing masks?
No, hell no, we ain't wearing masks. We're in the house. I'm in my basement. We're all tested. We haven't been tested, but nobody's sick here. I held my grandson Saturday for the first time in 6 months that he was born.
Wait, are you telling me you having sex with a grandmama now?
Yes, indeed.
Ooh, I like that. I like it.
Wait. Do I qualify as a... Wait a minute.
Yes, you do. Hey, I was waiting on you to... Hey, I said that to him, but I was waiting on you to pipe in. Yes, you qualify as a grandmother.
I don't even know what to say. Well, can I be called something different?
Well, see, first of all, you know what? I hate that. You know, all these people call me Mima, a rah-rah, a pappy. I'm like, shut the hell up. Don't be sensitive. Well, there's nothing wrong with grandma and grandpa.
Hell no, you're absolutely right, man.
You know what? I totally agree with you. I'm giving you a hard time. But I'm serious
though. It drives me crazy when you hear and obviously we know a bunch of people like this. Oh, they don't call me grandma and grandpa. I'm like, are you that sensitive?
No,
Come on, you are. I mean, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people we know.
Oh, yeah, no. But I have a bunch of people that are coming to my defense saying, Miss Robin is a gilf, so I'll take it. You know what? I'll be a gilf all year long.
All right, Chuck, we got to go, man. I love to talk to you all day, man, but I really appreciate the time, and always good to talk to you, brother.
You're welcome. Hey, y'all be safe. Thank you, Gil.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Gil.
Redmont Distilling. That's his.
Yes,
Redmont.
I need some of that product. I need some of that. We're coming right back. Tony, Harry, Miss Robin, having fun. He's simply the best, and I've said this a million times. No matter who asks me, who's your favorite athlete?
Yep.
This is a superstar. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of great athletes who aren't stars. This guy is a superstar, yet he's the most down-to-earth, regular guy you will ever be around, and that's why he's the best. Charles Barkley. We're coming back. Stick around.
The first time I met Charles was up at Tahoe, and obviously I didn't realize how good of friends he was with Tony. And Charles Barkley was probably my dad's favorite all-time player ever. And so I was really excited to get to meet him. And we were walking down the street early morning one time, and Tony goes, "Oh, there's Charles across the street." And I'm expecting, like, the entourage, because Charles was getting ready to go play that morning. And nope, he was by himself. He had his golf club swung, the bag swung over his shoulder. Nobody else around him. Just hanging out.
Regular dude.
Just a regular dude carrying his own clubs.
We have the commissioner
entourage.
made the announcement, Robin. So the season is over, as we thought.
Yeah, they're going straight to the playoffs.
Going straight to playoffs. And it's going to be the top 12 teams by points percentage in each conference head to the playoffs. I'm looking for all the rest of the stuff.
This next segment's going to be short.
I know, yeah. I know, but it was hard to stop that interview.
Yeah, definitely not.
There's about 25 drops in there.
Oh, I know. Blowing smoke up your ass stuff was pretty funny.
The tournament will be played in 2 hub cities to be announced at a later date. One for the East and one for the West.
Right.
Potential cities include Chicago, Columbus, Vegas, Edmonton, Vancouver, and others.
Anyone ever watch the Sebastian Maniscalco stand-up?
Oh, yeah, I always watch his stuff.
His bit on what Barkley was just saying.
Yeah.
Like, what's this B-mall and
Yeah.
stuff? Like, guy fought in...
The only reason I've been thinking about not going as grandma for Dominic is that Tony's ex-wife most likely is going to be grandma for him, and then there's going to be the other side. So I was thinking, just to differentiate a little bit for his sake.
Where are you thinking of going with?
Well, in the Netherlands, grandma's oma. So that's a pretty easy, and since I'm, Dutch heritage, he can call me oma. It still means the same thing. It's just a different language.
Opening
So the conference finals
consist of 5-game series.
But the
first round.
Yeah, but the conference and Stanley Cup finals best of 7.
Right. But the opening round is 5-game series.
Yeah,
so
that's what it should be.
First team who wins 3 is.
Dean Baker's asking if we would rather do, instead of Father's Day, we could do 4th of July giveaway.
Yeah, let's do 4th of July.
4th of July giveaway instead of Father's Day?
Yeah, and we'll
Okay.
give out American flag bag again.
All right,
Big.
all right, okay.
24 clubs, top 12 in each conference. So there's no buys then, right?
Yeah.
There is a buy?
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't see the full story. I'm seeing like people, hockey writers, breaking it.
Welcome back to the Tony Bruno Show with Harry Mayes on SiriusXM 211.
All right, always fun talking to Chuck. He's the best in the business, in any business.
Hey, Tony, I have a coronavirus update.
You have a coronavirus? Because we got to get this hockey update in here, too,
Yes, but
Robin.
really, really quick.
Is
Just
this good
so
news
that
or bad news?
This is good news. Pat Canine, because he's been traveling, he had one of those coronavirus tests. He got tested on Sunday just to be safe. He was negative, so that means everybody here should be negative as well.
Yes, I know I'm negative. I'm positive, but not coronavirus.
You're positive you're negative.
I'm positive that I'm negative, but I'm not negative because I'm positive. You following me so far?
I actually do.
Okay.
And that's scary.
Now, we have the hockey. The commissioner has spoken. While we're on with Charles, we told you earlier there's going to be a 24-team playoff, but now they have it broken down. It's going to be phases, and there will be playoffs, but there will be no resumption of the season. They are going to say the season's over.
Right.
Let the chips fall where they are, and then we have the actual breakdown, Harry.
Yeah, and the following teams are now out. Their seasons are over. The Red Wings, the Senators, the Sharks, Kings, Ducks, Devils, and Sabres.
So
Done.
those 7 teams are out of here like Vladimir Vodka, which is absolutely bad.
There's going to be 2 12-team in each conference. 12 teams advance. The top 4 get buys like we thought in each conference. And the bottom 8 will play off in a 5-game series.
Right. So the 5-game series will be the first round, and then the conference finals and the Stanley Cup finals will be 7-game series as normal.
Right.
So no best of threes, because I don't like best of threes. I like the way they're doing this so far. And, of course, they'll determine the safety. But it's not going to be played in the home team's buildings. So the buildings will be neutral sites, right?
Yeah, we don't know where that is yet.
But you mentioned some of the sites that they're talking about. So they're not going to go into one city and play all these games. They can't do it because they'd have to have a whole bunch of arenas where they're able to play these playoff series, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think Columbus, Chicago, Vegas were a couple of the towns that they mentioned as possibilities. They even mentioned Edmonton. So that's
How
still
about
up
when
in
you
the
look
air.
at some of those teams, Harry? The San Jose Sharks are one of the surprising ones there. I mean, the Red Wings are trying to rebuild with the young players, but the Red Wings have fallen mightily the last couple of years. But the Sharks, just a couple of years ago, dominant team, one of those teams that we talked about before, always up there winning the President's Cup, which has the best record in the league, and then not winning the Stanley Cup. But you look at the teams you mentioned, Harry. Edmonton, well, you got Detroit's out, the Sharks are out.
The Kings.
The Kings are out. Los Angeles.
The Ducks.
The Ducks of Southern California.
The
both
Sabres.
hockey clubs are done.
The
Buffalo Sabres.
And the Devils.
The New Jersey
were in that
Devils.
mix. There were 7 teams.
Right. So the Devils, by the way, even though Governor Murphy has given them permission to go back and skate and get on the ice, the boys will not be reporting to the facility up there in North Jersey, Harry, because the Devils season is over. Melt the ice, as they say.
Melt the ice.
The Flyers are going to have to melt the ice, too, because even though they've been cleared to play here in New Jersey, because their practice facility is in Voorhees, I guess I wonder if they'll practice there or have to go to designated practice sites, because they are cleared to play in New Jersey now, as Governor Murphy had issued earlier today. That means the Sixers in Camden, where they have been, but not full squad.
But not as a full unit.
Exactly.
They've just select players. That
And
were
now
there.
the Flyers in Voorhees, where they train, we don't know if they're going to train there for the playoffs, because they got a first-round bye, remember.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Devils, forget about your bye, forget about your ice. You're going bye-bye, hit the golf course, and hit them straight. And hit them hard, boys. Eh?
I played with a hockey player on Saturday.
Is he good?
Yeah.
Hockey players
A lot
are
of
pretty
hockey
good
players
golfers.
are right.
They really
can
are.
really hit it. Yeah.
Even though it's not the same swing, it's remarkable how many hockey players can play golf.
Mm-hmm.
Good golf, too. Not crappy golf. You know what I'm saying? So this is interesting. So hockey actually, as we said earlier, is the first major sport in this country to get their act together and come up with a semi-cohesive plan that looks like it makes sense. Because I don't think the teams that weren't good are going to sneak in. I think putting teams in that were bad to give them a chance in a best of 5, because their players are healthy now, I don't think that's fair to the rest of the league.
No, I agree. You played it. They played 60-some-odd games already.
Exactly.
So, that's a fair representation.
You're absolutely right, Harry. The fact that they played enough games so that there's no, oh, wow, if they had given them, like with the Portland Trailblazers situation going on in the NBA, where they need to play a couple more games unless the NBA goes to that big format, too, where they put 24 teams in. Because if they have to play it out the rest of the regular season to hope to make the playoffs and they don't have a shot, I can see players not wanting to play.
Yeah, why put yourself at risk if there's really nothing to play for?
Exactly.
You know?
So we have hockey straightened out. Baseball, where I'm looking for a baseball decision. I'm looking for Adam Silver to make a decision because Gary Bettman has turned the heat up on the rest of the sports in this country, Harry. Who would have thunk it? Gary Bettman is leading the way to bringing sports back in the USA. Could be a bumper sticker. We're coming back. Coming up next hour, Dan Lust, a lot of legalese stuff. Stuff you can understand, though, on why and how sports can come back safely. And it's coming back, Harry. So stick around. We're coming back for the big finale. Should we open a bottle? No, we're not going to open a bottle of vodka today. We just had a long weekend.
No, I had enough.
Yeah, we need a couple days to dry out.
What?
That's breaking news. I've had enough for a day.
That is.
Now,
that
as
is
Harry
breaking
kept talking, he couldn't see the clock.
That is breaking news.
But see, you guys can't see that clock, so I
No,
try to
I
hit
know.
it at 57.
Yeah, that's fine. It should have been more.
No, but Harry can't see it because it's behind him and it's covered.
Yeah.
No,
if
it wasn't.
you-
No, that was my fault.
I'm just trying not to disrupt.
No, but if you just like step over here so that at least
No, because Robin, I see the clock and I
Yeah.
know when to get out.
Yeah.
No, but still, just to not disrupt anyone, I'll like.
It won't disrupt. Like if you just step over here, because if Harry sees you, then I can see that you're trying to get our attention. Because I can see, like, if I'm facing this way, I can see Harry out of the corner of my eye. I can't see you
You
out
got
of
to
the
get
corner.
your boy Martinez
My
on tomorrow, Harry.
peripheral.
Right? Now, we got a spot for Jason tomorrow. We need a hockey segment tomorrow.
Yes, we do.
Or I could get the commissioner, Linda Cohn. We can do all hockey tomorrow. No.
Huh? And it's open.
No, you're right, Joe Quills. Bettman's going to get love now, but as soon as he's on the ice, when the cup is hoisted, he'll get booed. You know who else we got to get on, too, in the next weeks ahead?
Uh-huh.
My boy up there in Toronto with the cup, the guy, the keeper of the cup, dude.
Oh.
The blonde dude who brings out the Stanley Cup with the gloves.
Yeah. We met him.
Yeah, we can get Barry on.
We met him. What is his name? I have his card number somewhere.
So we have to thank. Give me the 17s again. They're gone. We got to thank the Sharks. The West Coast has been wiped out, right? Except Vegas is it. Vegas is the only team alive. So you got San Jose, L.A.
The Devils.
No, I want to do it nice. Kings and Sharks, Kings, and
Senators.
Ducks. Oh, I'm talking about all three California teams are out, right?
Yeah.
San Jose, Kings, Ducks. Vegas is in though, right? Because they're one of the buys. Don't they have one of the buys?
I think so.
Yeah, the Golden Knights, the Blues, the Avalanche, and the Stars. So it's Kings, Ducks, Devils, Detroit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
15 seconds.
I'm missing two teams, Harry.
Sharks, Kings, Ducks, Devils, Sabres, Senators, Red Wings.
And Sens, okay.
5 seconds. Here we go.
Okay.
Motive.
I got him. Got him.
Stand by, Joe.
So it says the round robin. So there is no first round bye. It says round robin, top 4 teams play in the first round, according to this Tina Cervasio.
Bettman confirms top 14.
We are back for the big finale hour here, and Not many times we get to say this, Harry Mayes. Hockey is your top story today. Gary Bettman, the first commissioner of a major sports league in this country, to say, we will play. All you teams that weren't good enough in the bulk of the games that were played, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya. So there will be a 24-team playoff format announced in the National Hockey League. And, of course, the teams that were going home, no California representation. Pretty much the West Coast is wiped out of hockey play, except for Las Vegas. Vegas is the only team standing out in the West. All 3 California teams are done. The San Jose Sharks, the Los Angeles Kings, and the Anaheim Ducks go home for the summer. Just don't go in the dry sand, boys, when you're out there playing golf tomorrow morning, Harry, because everything relates to golf, because that's the big joke in hockey, right? Once your season's over, what do?
You're on the first tee.
And in basketball, it's going fishing, right? Because Charles and the guys on TNT.
Yeah, they've made that's hilarious.
Which is one of my favorite bits ever.
I'm reading Pierre LeBrun's Twitter, and he's got some different information that I previously read.
Oh, no, that's right. Vegas and Arizona are in, by the way. The Coyotes. Are they not in?
Yeah, they're
okay.
in. Bettman confirms the top 4 teams in each conference play 3-game round robin with playoff seeding at stake, while the bottom 8 teams in each conference play a best of 5.
Right. So there is no first round bye, right? The top 4 teams. The top 4 teams originally, this is what the Players Association approved, buys for the top 4 teams: Boston, the Lightning, the Capitals, and the Flyers in the East. And in the West, the Blues, the Avalanche, the Golden Knights, and the Stars in the West. They were supposed to get buys, but now apparently they're going to play a round robin, right?
Yeah, then he says in a later tweet, first 2 rounds of the actual 16-team playoffs will be a best of 5 or best of 7. So this stuff is really, it's still...
No, but the Cup Finals for sure will be a best of 7.
You would
when
think
they get
so.
there. I read earlier that it was going to be a best of 7, on best of 5 in the semifinals. No, best of 7 in the conference championships and in the Stanley Cup finals. Everything else before that will be best of 5s, which is what I saw. You know what I'm saying?
Bettman says there are 10 hub cities under consideration for the 2 host spots: Vegas, Toronto, Chicago, Columbus, Edmonton, Dallas, L.A., Minnesota, Vancouver, and Pittsburgh. They're all being considered, but there's going to be 2 spots.
So there will only be 2 cities, and everybody will have to go. There'll be an Eastern
Conference city and a Western Conference
exactly.
city. Yeah.
So who are the cities again? Let's try to do elimination.
He's got...
No, give me the possibilities, and I'll tell you where they're going to go.
Vegas.
Vegas is one.
Toronto.
Okay, Toronto.
Chicago, Columbus, Edmonton, Dallas, L.A., Minneapolis, Vancouver, and Pittsburgh.
Well, they're not going to go to L.A., because L.A. will have 0 fan interest out there, because not only will there be no L.A. King fans, there will be no Shark fans, and there will be no Mighty Duck fans. So I don't think they go to L.A., Harry. Plus, that's so far away. Now, Vegas is almost just as far. But as far as a hub city, I'm going to guess Vegas will be the one in the West. I could be wrong. I mean, Edmonton's nice.
Yeah, especially since they're not going to get the NBA.
Exactly.
There'll be, arena will be available.
Exactly right.
The arenas.
So that's the latest. So I don't think you can cross L.A. off of that, because the NBA is not going to play in L.A. either when they determine their host city. It's going to be at Disney. It looks like Disney to me. I think we can call that almost a lock, that the NBA is going to take the Disney everybody in one place, because they can play 13 games at once, as we talked about earlier in the show. The one thing about the Disney site for the NBA, when they finally make their decision, is they can have 13 games or practices going on at the same time, with the number of facilities that they'll have available down at the Walt Disney World and the adjoining Orlando facilities that are be available to the NBA players. Plus all the hotels, all the different hotels in Disney. And while Charles was concerned about families and stuff, I think there's a way they could do it. They'll have the family stay in one room, and then the players stay in their own area where they're on a separate floor for the players, and then they can see their families. They're not going to be away from their families for 3 months, and they'll do social distancing and wear masks and that stuff. So as much as we're trying to overcomplicate this, I think there's a way to do it and keep everybody feeling safe. Now, the players have to be tested all the time when they walk into buildings. They'll put
Well, and I think that part of, obviously, Charles, you heard him. He said that his frustration and fear was he had to wait 10 days.
But that was early. That was early in the process.
And I think that might have clouded the way he feels about it now because of the fact that now you can get a test back within like 5 or 15 minutes or something like that.
Exactly. So. And, there will be bad ice and all the other things that people talk about. The buildings nowadays are pretty high.
They can keep the ice good.
If not, bring the bats back from the 70s like they used to have in Buffalo when the fog would form, and then there'd be bats in the building. Let's go to Buffalo, by the way. We have a very angry, bitter, and broken Buffalo Sabre fan. Jerry King Kong Korab and all those guys in there, and the French Connection line have really got to be upset at what's going up there in Buffalo, eh? What's happening up there, man? Are you outraged that your Buffalo Sabres will not be going to the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Hey, Tony, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Good, man. Now, are you pissed off in Buffalo?
No, I mean, they've stunk for so many years, and, hey, you know what? You had so many games to get in. I'm a hockey fan in general. I love the Sabres, obviously, but I'm happy that, I feel like of all the playoffs, hockey, to me, that's the toughest one to win the Stanley Cup. You really got to earn it. And I like this, that Bettman came out to the first ones back. And, I appreciate that putting themselves out there because hockey, of all the four major sports, they're the one that never gets the coverage. So I like this a lot.
No, I agree with you, too. And we rarely agree with Gary Bettman and then a lot of the hockey decisions that are being made. But it wasn't just on Bettman. I mean, he had the Players Association, he had the Board of Governors. So there's been a lot of input here. And remember, we were ripping the Hockey League, Gary Bettman, because they weren't saying Bettman wasn't saying anything.
They were the quietest, right?
The first we heard of Gary Bettman was on a conference call with San Jose Sharks representatives who weren't even going to make the playoffs. And he was out there talking to the San Jose
Chamber of Commerce.
Exactly.
Or
It was like a Sharks organization. Not that there's anything wrong talking to the Sharks people, but the bottom line is, they're doing it right. You don't need to finish the rest of the season. They played enough games. The teams that weren't good enough, too bad. They get to go play golf now for the summer.
Now I'm reading Bob McKenzie at TSN Bob McKenzie's Twitter. He says, we still don't know the details on the round-robin formula for the top 4 seeds in each conference.
Right.
Still don't know if the first 2 rounds of the playoffs will be a best of 5 or best of 7, and whether it's re-bracketing or reseeding. That was 8 minutes ago.
And that's understandable. I mean, I'm sure Gary Bettman just had to give them the basics and then say that the 7 teams who didn't make the playoffs,
their season's
they're
over.
Out.
Right.
Their season is so. Then now they know. And I'm sure they're going to do the same thing to the NBA. You can't let every team into the playoffs.
No.
You can't let every team in. Because then the season is worthless. You played all those games, and the thing about hockey, though, David, to your point, the one thing about hockey, though, is you could have a team get hot really quickly in the playoffs who weren't great during the regular season. I don't mean really, really bad teams like the Red Wings. I mean teams that were
like an
close.
8 seed.
Like an 8 seed
can beat a 1.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some team could get hot and make it through and win the Stanley Cup after not having a great season as opposed to the top 4 teams who had really good seasons to get there.
Yeah, you're exactly right, man. And the one thing I love about this bringing hockey back is with a round robin format, you're not going to see anybody sit out, man. There's no load management. There's none of that BS. Hockey players play through all kinds of injuries, and to me, I think this is going to be really interesting to see. Because home ice, it does mean something, and goaltending is so underrated in hockey. I mean, if you don't have a goalie that how many times have you seen in the playoffs? Goalies stand on their head for a series, and it changes everything.
You got to stand on your head every once in a while, Harry.
No, it's do everything but stand on your head.
That is correct, yes.
That's really the way to say it.
That's really it is, yeah. Well, no, they do say he stood on his head, though. He stood on his head. But he didn't blow it out his ass. And that's really the most important part when you're in the crease, Harry. Never forget that. Never forget.
Happened to Tom Brady over the weekend.
I know it did, man. You saw what happened. Hey, David, good to hear from you, man. Thanks so much for checking in.
Thanks again, guys. Love the show.
Thank you so much. And this is what's great. You can rip hockey all you want. You can say it's not a legitimate sport. Don't talk about hockey. Hockey is the first league, Harry, and you got to give them credit for that.
Absolutely.
It's easy to rip hockey. But
now,
even Charles Barkley acknowledges that the hockey playoffs are the best in all sports.
Now, yeah, a lot of people, most people, I think, acknowledge
and
that.
Charles is an NBA guy,
right,
and he understands.
Even if they're not huge hockey fans, they recognize how important their playoffs are and how, it probably is the best.
And now our good buddy Ron Flatter out there he says, I have no inside knowledge of which to speak, but it seems to me that the hub cities most likely to host the rest of the season would be either Vegas or Los Angeles in the West, Chicago or Toronto in the East. And, that's a good guess because right now we don't know. And
Toronto and Vegas would be pretty good guesses, yeah. I would agree with
But then Vegas could get home ice. That's the thing. See, if you do that.
Yeah, true. If you do it in L.A., the L.A. teams are out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So L.A. would definitely be a neutral site. Vegas would not. So does that favor? The Knights, of course, would have to advance because they're in the first round. They're in the first round as a top seed. They're the 3 seed in the Western Conference in the top 4.
Yeah, and Toronto obviously could get home ice then.
Exactly. And so there are a couple teams. So do they have to take that into account if they're doing hubs, Harry? Do they have to take that into account and not try to favor one team with potential home ice advantage in any playoff?
Although with no audience, does it really apply that much? The buildings are going to be empty.
Oh yeah, you're right about that.
You know
it's
what
still
I mean?
their building, though.
Right.
You said they're building, but you're right about the no fan thing. You're absolutely right, Harry. And Toronto is also the hub of NHL, as our buddy Ice Rink up there in Ottawa says. It's also the NHL TV and media hub. So it would make sense to have that. But then again, it's in Canada, and that's the foreign country. And you're not allowed to go up there unless you're a hockey player.
Unless you're a player.
So, that'll be fixed because, again, we're not even to June 1st yet. And June 1st is the date that they're going to start easing and allowing players to go back into their facilities and skate. So it's obvious that the teams like the Flyers here in New Jersey, where they practice, will probably be on their own ice, at least their practice ice, before this playoff series. Because they're going to have a training camp, Harry. They're going to have guys go out there and skate a little bit so they can get back to normal as far as conditioning and line connections.
Yeah,
and
that's going to take a couple weeks.
Yeah, so that's going to probably be done in the team's respective practice facilities. And then when it's time to start the playoffs, they will go to the designated hub cities to get action.
And what I don't understand is why can't they make like these UV light boxes where equipment and the pucks and everything, if somebody's touched it, then it just goes in the box.
They have gloves on, though, Robin.
I know,
gloves.
but not everybody, like the refs and stuff. The
refs will wear gloves, not hockey gloves. They'll wear gloves, and they're frozen pucks. Again, take it one step at a time, here, Robin. Let's get the damn ice laid. Let's get the lines down. Let's get the advertising in the ice. Let's get the boards all ready to go. Let's put the pucks in the freezer. Let's play some damn hockey. Welcome to the damn National Hockey League. I'm excited, man. Are you excited yet?
Well, yeah, because that means, in July we're going to have games to watch.
Damn right, man.
How soon now until Adam Silver announces the NBA plan?
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
We're coming right back. We're going to talk law. Not boring law, not law and order. Dan Lust, Esquire, the official unsolicited, unpaid lawyer of the Tony Bruno Show. He's coming up next.
So, Tony Bruno, we're going to do this during the break because it's easier to do it during the break than it is on live on air. So we have a box.
Okay.
We have a box to open up. What's in the box right here? Everybody see on Twitch?
No, that's all right. Yeah. What's in the box?
Do you want to hear? I'm just going to.
What's in the box?
Tony, I'll score it. And do you want to open
Score that,
it?
baby.
That was the most updated article I had for that.
Do you want me to open it or do you want to open it?
Open that son bitch.
Okay, I will open it. Oh, yes. This was on the wish list.
What is it?
Boom.
Oh, we have an ice bucket, Harry. We have an official, legit
legit ice
steel
bucket.
ice bucket.
Rather than using the goofy measuring cup that I've been bringing down here.
Look at this, Harry. Look at that baby. It's got a strainer and tongs. Nice. There will be no more spillage in here.
That is awesome. And then this is...
And guess what? This is made where, Harry?
Segmok. Technology changes lives.
China.
I can't...
China. What is it made in China?
You know
What
what?
is it,
Amazon seriously needs to have the
Except
option to check off that you only want to buy stuff on in the U.S. product. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Amazon would be out of business then. Did you see the Burger King thing
These
that they're
are
doing?
the cables that I need. Thank
Did you
you,
see
thank
with the
you,
Burger
thank
King?
you.
You see the social distancing Burger King idea? Look at that, Robin. Oh, you don't see it
I
up
can't
there.
see it up there. And
They're putting,
Who
you
are-
know the big Burger King crowns?
yeah,
They're making one that goes around
the entire
3 feet, and then the person next to you will be 6 feet away. There it is. It's on the...
lovely, lovely. Okay. So send a thank you note. No. Where is this? This is gift.
China.
A gift for you. We're back to AJ. AJ in
God
San
damn
Antonio.
it, AJ.
Enjoy your gift. Keep something chilled for me, y'all, from AJ Lopez. Thank you, AJ in San Antonio. It is. Well, your name will be on a bottle of something, whatever you want, when next time you
I'll
come
have
to
to send
Philly.
him some Charles Barkley vodka down there.
Yeah. Well, I sent him one of those the humidors.
Yeah, I know.
That you and Harry got, and he received it, and he loves it, and he's like the envy of all of his coworkers. Are you using that humidor, Harry?
What do you mean the rich get richer? We put a gift. We put an Amazon. A guy's a multimillionaire. David Portnoy is a
I know.
multimillionaire Barstool, and people send him shit. Talk about the rich get richer, and it's not even stuff that he needs. These are things that we ask for on the show, and then people can decide to send them to us or not.
Yeah, if we were living in a mansion that, not a South Philly row home, I would say, okay, I'll give it to you. But we're not. And we're all here. So, the show, you guys, you're getting it for free. So this is just showing a little bit of appreciation, and we appreciate it so, so very much. Dean Loudbags, am I putting the show logo on the golf bag? Yeah, for
the winner?
For the winner? Yeah, that would be good. They should always remember where they won the bag. So, I did misspeak. It's going to be a July 4th giveaway, not a Father's Day giveaway. So that was my bad. We've been talking.
4th of July.
We've been going back and forth about what day that was going to be, and I misspoke. So I apologize. It's July 4th.
Damn it, Robin.
I know.
You see which one of the interns put this up? The scales of justice.
Welcome back to the Tony Bruno Show with Harry Mayes on SiriusXM 211.
Having fun getting news. I love when news breaks on the program because there really hasn't been a lot of that.
No, there hasn't been a lot of news.
Well, there's been news, but there's been
Sports-wise.
speculation and there have been proposals, but nothing concrete. And the good news is hockey has taken the first step of all the sports leagues here in this country, and they said they're going to do it. June 1st is a big day. That's next Monday. And so that's when we'll start seeing teams show up at practice facilities as they open up. And some of them already have. So we'll keep an eye on everything else going on. But there's a lot of other legalese stuff that's important to this. And you know how we hate legalese because you can't understand lawyers?
Right.
Except our lawyer, Dan Lust, Esquire. When we need things broken down, he breaks them down for us at levels that are humanly possible to understand.
Yeah, he's the official legal counsel of the show, right?
Exactly right. We don't do any slip and fall. If you have mesothelioma and you worked with asbestos in the Philadelphia school system, we can't help you.
Right.
If you want to know about sports law and what's going to happen, we turn to this man, Dan Lust, who's been tweeting up a storm all weekend while you were out getting drunk and playing golf. This man was looking at the legal ramifications of the return to sports normalcy. Dan, thank you for your service, man.
Tony, this intro gets better every single time, so thank you for that, number one.
It gets longer, too.
Listen, I'll take it. I mean, it's fine. I'm not charging you guys by the hour, so you can go on and on.
The more I suck up to him, the less he doesn't charge us for his services.
You know what? I'll give you a reduction on the $0 I'm charging you right now.
All right, Dan, you heard the hockey news, and then people are automatically, because we don't have all the details, And certainly there's going to be procedures. And then the testing we were talking about with Charles Barkley earlier, which took 10 days to get results, they have certainly improved them to the point where you can get quicker results, obviously know very soon whether a player tests positive or not.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the nature of the beast. And I will say, Tony, when it comes to hockey, there's a lot that we still have to figure out. I guess, in some sense, all of these negotiations require lawyers in some sense. So I think just as a kind of an issue-spotting note on hockey before we get so excited, there's still a lot we have to see. I mean, hockey, and if you're a basketball fan as well, relies on the the NHL draft lottery for the first overall pick. Now, if you then take, Tony, an expanded playoffs field, what happens to the draft lottery, right? I mean, normally you take all non-playoff teams and you have a little neat system, however many lottery balls are allocated. But in hockey, we've seen an 8 seed go all the way and win the Stanley Cup Finals. Would it be fair for a 12 seed or a 13 seed to also have a shot at the draft lottery? These are the types of gameplay conversations that attorneys from the Players Association, from the league, they have to figure out. So we definitely have more details coming down. And then Tony, when it comes to the actual play, and we're worried about COVID, we've seen in the hockey landscape, the Ottawa Senators had an outbreak as well as the Colorado Avalanche. But we're still trying to figure out what this looks like in sports. Do you drop out just those particular players? Do you drop out the whole team? We still are kind of figuring that out. And at the end of the day, there's a liability issue, too, because if you don't drop out the entire team from even if it's the playoffs, right? If you let that team play and they were skating around the infected player, what happens then? Could you infect the other team and then there's just an outbreak in the NHL? So these safety issues are still the part that needs to be worked out. So even though the playoff structure has been approved, you haven't seen anything in hockey with respect to the actual health and safety protocol, and that's really not an easy obstacle at the end of the day.
Do you foresee players and coaches and anybody that would be on hand for these games in whichever league it is having to sign waivers?
I mean, I think that's still the debate. So we can get really happy that hockey looks like it's coming back, but that's still the debate. I mean, I know I was on with you guys a couple weeks back talking about the UFC waivers that these fighters signed. The UFC got it done because there is no UFC union. It's just Dana White, and whatever Dana White says kind of goes. So the fighters cannot fight, if they didn't want to sign a waiver, but then they're not getting paid. It's a completely different animal when it comes to the four major sports and MLS with their own unions. So I'm not sure if I'm the head of the union, if I want my players to sign a waiver so quick. And I know there's been reports of doctors coming out and asking these players' associations to try to get long-term health care for their players if they're going to be playing under this risk. So could I see a waiver proposed by the NHL, by Major League Baseball, by the NBA? Sure, but there's a battle that's going to be fought with these players' associations because they're not going to want to sign away their rights.
Talking with Dan Lust. Now, the thing you mentioned about the baseball, which is obviously lagging behind all the other sports, their advantage is they would only have the number of players who are on the starting positions in the dugout, and the rest of the players would be in the stands. And so if one player does test positive, then they can quarantine that one player for 14 days and then test the rest of the players and continue to play. With basketball, with only a 13-man roster, you lose a player or two, you're in trouble. And so I think that when you look at the teams with the smaller rosters, like basketball in particular, hockey has 20. Maybe they increase the roster sizes and have the players sitting in the stands come in. So that's the biggest problem I see happening.
So I know you guys are on the gambling beat of this, and I'll give you just kind of an interesting nugget that I saw on one of these offshore sites. There are odds currently as to which will be the first sport to officially return. These offshore books have have hockey. Probably they're going to adjust it now, but hockey was plus 100 as of yesterday. The NBA was plus 140, and baseball plus 240. If it's me, and I'm agreeing with you, Tony, I see a much easier path for baseball to return than I do, at least in terms of their gameplay, hockey or basketball, because baseball is inherently not a contact sport. You could just watch a game, and everyone's basically social distance already, unless you're the batter or the umpire in that setting, or you're holding a runner on the base. So we've seen, Tony, and you mentioned some of the tweets I had this past weekend. Japanese baseball is coming back June 19th. The KBO is already back. The Taiwanese Baseball League is already back. We're seeing around the world that baseball can be played safely. Are we seeing the same sports pop up with respect to hockey and basketball? No, that's not really the case. So, if anyone's just, not that I'm advocating gambling on illegal sites, but if you're watching those odds, just keep in mind that baseball has been played across the world because of the actual inherent nature of the sport itself.
Yeah, that's what makes the MLB situation even more embarrassing, because they will have the shortest season regardless, and the other sports leagues, the NHL and the NBA, at least have played the bulk of their season and are willing to go into a playoff situation. Baseball, we've been saying this for a while. If they don't have a decision by next week when they're going to at least try to open, I think their 82-game schedule situation is pretty much dead.
So the latest, Tony, and I'm not sure if you guys touched it. We had a report from Bob Nightingale. All the guys are now picking it up. But baseball's newest offer is going to basically allow, or at least the proposal, is a sliding scale amongst athletes, for reduction. So normally, the original proposal was a prorated reduction across the board based off of revenue sharing. So now, baseball is going to suggest that the highest paid players take a bigger percentage cut than the lower salary towards the minimum guys. So it's going to be a battle either way. I mean, God forbid, I retweeted an article and I just got attacked that I was on, baseball's side of the equation. But you can see it both ways, right? I mean, baseball, the Players Association is arguing, that they already agreed to reduction. So it's not Major League Baseball's, their ability to say, let's come back and renegotiate the deal. So we're going to see this play out. I mean, I think, I believe, Tony, the deadline for players, I think their original March 26th deal had them paid up to the end of May. So after Sunday, right, kind of all bets are off if the money is not coming in. So expect to see some fireworks on the Major League Baseball Players Association league landscape over the next 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, and it's really a bad look right now for baseball because it gives the appearance that you've got rich athletes, and I know not all of them are rich, but rich athletes arguing with billionaire owners. That's a bad look.
It is, and I think, the comments of Blake Snell a couple weeks back kind of color this, because Blake Snell, and it's not that he didn't have a point, it's just how he phrased it. He said, the risk of COVID is through the roof, and I'm not taking any reductions to be playing with the risk through the roof. The problem when it comes to a guy like Blake Snell is if you just look across the sports landscape, let's even talk about college, those guys are going to get paid $0 for that risk. Mm-hmm. So Blake Snell is sitting unhappy with his reduction, whatever it is. What does that say for the future of college football or college basketball? So I've said it time and time again, there is going to be no perfect solution, but at the end of the day, these leagues have to be and players have to understand that there is going to be some level of risk no matter what, absent some vaccine, which, might not come for a year or so, but they just have to figure out the parameters and the financial parameters that they're going to be playing underneath.
Dan Lust, legal expert. Well, he's a lawyer. Now, Dan, did you take any time off over the long weekend, or did you just bash your head against all the legal decisions over the last 100 years to figure out what's going on so you can help all the people who want sports to come back just as much as we do?
I actually fell asleep in a textbook, so, that's just my world. I'm either on Twitter or researching for stuff to put on Twitter.
And Sports Law Lust on Twitter.
Sports Law, even when you want to help people understand the legal things, people come at you on Twitter. That's why Twitter is really a scourge.
Tony.
It's a scourge on America. It's a necessary evil, unfortunately. But you're trying to help people, and they're going to come after you?
See, Tony, you mentioned it. I try to play this role, right, of the Rosetta Stone. People get very complicated news, and I just try to break it down in common sense, but it can be legal terms, but it's important for these, the fan base to be educated. Smarter fans make for smarter talk radio and just, better informed fan base. But even if I'm reporting, God forbid, I report on the baseball's proposal. Right? I'm not even saying they should take it. I'm just saying the proposal. My DMs explode with we'll say a very angry bunch of people. But I imagine if I talk about the Players Association response, I'll get the other half of angry people. So there's no winning.
You know what, Dan, though, that those are not our listeners, because the Tony Bruno Show listeners, because you've been coming on so often, they are more educated, so they're not the ones ripping you.
And as they said, an educated consumer is our best listener. Oh, no, that's what the Men's Warehouse guy used to say, remember?
Right.
An educated consumer. No, that was Cy Sims. Cy and Marcy Sims.
Yeah.
An educated consumer is our best customer. That's what they used to say back in the day.
But the problem is, the smarter they are, the harder they hit me in these DMs. I'd rather them just call me an idiot and then let it be.
Well, we leave that to people on Twitter and on our Twitch stream to do that to us. But, they come at us and we come right back at them. That's how the world has changed now. They can rip us and we can rip them, but I don't go low. When they go low,
we don't punch down.
You're damn right, Harry.
Right.
You're damn right. And that's why Dan, I think, respects his program.
I mean, that's why I keep coming back. You guys have a smart fan base. Your followers have found me, and always appreciative. Everyone comes with their own takes. I respect them. Just don't punch low. That's the only rule.
Now, you also mentioned the Mike Trout, $37 million is the highest paid, and the MLB minimum is $563,000. So that's really the divide that you have to talk about, because obviously Mike Trout wants to play. If he doesn't, though, everybody says, well, Mike Trout's good, but he's got a pregnant wife. So, I mean, he's got a family. All these people have families and things to worry about. So you also mentioned about the umpires. If you cut Joe West's salary in half, he'd still make a couple of $100,000, right?
Right. I'll give you kind of both sides of the coin of it. So, I guess at an initial level, the question is, if let's just assume, again, I'm not just taking baseball's position. If you assume that player salaries need to be reduced, if you're wearing baseball's hat for a second, is it fair to to reduce everyone's salaries, we'll say 25% across the board, or do you want to cut someone like Mike Trout more? So, you could see it both ways, right? Is Mike Trout hit harder because in this, let's say 50%, if he's now getting paid $18.5 million versus the minimum guy who's now getting paid $250,000? I mean, I would argue Mike Trout's already making more than $10 million. What does it really matter if it's 18 or 37? Whereas, the $500,000 guy, he's now making $2.
We lose him.
We lost him right there.
I think we lost him.
I think he got. Oh, I hear him. Dan, you still there?
Uh-oh.
I hear him in the background.
It sounds like he accidentally hit the mute button or something like that.
Did you mute us, Dan? Hello?
But I agree with him what he was saying, that, it doesn't hurt your pocket quite as much going from $10 million to $5 million.
Right.
Or from $37 million to $18
but
million.
If you're,
he's back.
If you're Mike Trout, you're like, people want to watch me play more than they want to watch player.
Okay, guys?
Yeah, Dan, I don't know what happened. Did you put us on mute? Did you move around? Are you on a mobile phone or are you on a landline?
My retainer actually ran out, so it dropped out, but it's okay. I'll give you guys another 3 hours.
I was going to say, I thought you had a timer on it, and you were only going to give us like 10 minutes, and then after that, it was like $1 a second.
No. So, I mean, I don't know where I cut off, but I guess the breadcrumb I'd like to, I think it's important for all sports fans to pay attention to. Major League Baseball last week announced that they were going to allow players the ability to opt out of the. They didn't give us the criteria if it's a required pre-existing health issue or someone like Mike Trout with young kids, but they were allowing players that option. So sounds great. It's interesting that baseball is allowing it, but you have to kind of think on a practical level. What does that mean for Major League Baseball contracts? Does your contract freeze in place, right? Or, let's say you have a one-year deal, your Mookie Betts on the Dodgers. You become a free agent, even if you're sitting out this year. So I think these are the types of practical questions that Major League Baseball and really all sports have to worry about. If you're going to allow an opt-out for players, which you probably should, if the guy has a real health issue, can't play, what does that mean for their contract? Do they get paid $0? Do they get more of a reduction? But it's not going to really be easy in baseball, particularly because they have this service time issue. If a guy's, you're a young guy, your second year in the league, you don't really want your contract to be frozen in place because that will just delay your free agency. But, Tony, if you're a guy at the end of your Major League Baseball career, you're 35, 36, maybe you want to take a year off, defer payments to next year, and rest up. So it's definitely a tough issue. I think it's probably harder for baseball as compared to a basketball or a football, just because of the service time issue, which we don't really see that in football, basketball, because there is no such thing as service time, right? You're just a free agent the second your contract's up.
Dan Lust, I don't know what's going on with your phone, but we hear you now. But from the first part of the conversation, you were really loud and clear. Are you on a cellular? Are you on a
Bluetooth?
Not a Bluetooth. Are you on one of those remote phones? The little ones where you have different phones in the room, and you pick one up, and it's not the main phone. It's just one of the satellite phones in your house, the cordless phones.
Speaking of baseball, behind baseball, I've my AirPods have died on me, so I'm going old school and just holding the phone to my ear. So I got to be a little bit closer. Tony, just with all these breaking news across sports, I was on 2 other stations earlier, so my AirPods are not cooperating. But such is the life as a sports lawyer.
All right, man, you got to get those pods. Were they made in China, perhaps?
Unclear.
So as far as the timing for the NHL, till we get actual games, would you think by the end of July they could actually be playing playoff games?
It's possible. I mean, even for Major League Baseball, the offer that's now on the table, that's been proposed, it anticipates baseball being back before July 4th weekend. So timing is up in the air. I mean, it depends on kind of the nature of, local, state, and federal laws. But, baseball is considering a world where you're back by July 4th. I imagine it's in play for hockey as well. I'll just point out one kind of detail in hockey because it's on the breaking front. Hockey has agreed to play in we'll say a two-hub city scenario. That's how they're going to do the playoffs. East in one city, and then the other, and the West in the other city. The problem is, if you just look at the list of cities that they're considering, some of them are north of the border in Toronto. And I know Tony and Harry, you saw my tweet this weekend. The federal government, United States, the White House has created an exemption order for foreign-born athletes to enter the United States without any restrictions on that. That obviously impacts hockey a lot more, with basically 75% of players being international players. The problem is you can't really have a hub site in Canada at this point because they have a different set of rules. If you cross the border and you go into Canada, you have to go under the it's a 14-day quarantine period.
Yeah.
So we don't. I would imagine before you can kind of figure out if you're going to use one of these hub sites for the NHL, you're going to see what Canada has to do. So I imagine NHL wants to wait this out because like we were talking about, for baseball fans, Florida's got a ton of fields, as does Arizona because of spring training. For hockey, Canada is probably a better site than really anywhere we would have locally, just because of how popular the sport is there.
And of course, the big goal celebrations. Will they be able to hug one another when they?
No, you got to have social distancing.
But remember, but a lot of players have face shields already, so there won't be any spittle. I mean, if the full face shields on hockey players, the plexiglass ones.
Well, if you full shields, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Not just the one above the eyes, the ones that come down.
Now, I'll give you guys another question. I don't know the answer to this. Baseball is not, they're outlawing fights in baseball. I don't really know how you do that. I especially don't know how you do that in hockey. How would you outlaw fights with this pure emotion? I mean, I understand the logic behind trying to outlaw fights. You want to limit those.
But there are no fights.
There's no fights in the playoffs hardly ever.
In hockey, no. There's no fights in the playoffs.
Because nobody wants to be shorthanded.
And the baseball fights are just a bunch of guys standing around anyway.
I mean, listen, the rules are rules. I imagine there's a number of scenarios where a player would want to fight somebody, but you outlaw it. I just don't understand how practically you would outlaw fights on a social distance level. But just, I mean, for baseball, important to note. Same with basketball. As rare as they are, you see guys come off the bench. So, those are the parts of the conversation that the unions and the leagues are still negotiating. Because at the end of the day, guys, just for the legal side of it, there is still a liability issue that teams and leagues need to be doing enough to say that they acted reasonably under the situation. There's no perfect scenario to make sure all players are going to be perfectly safe. But, based on these rules and how they, even having baseball players sit in the stands, that's all part of this risk avoidance liability equation.
Dan, always great to talk to you, my friend. I really appreciate your expertise and your knowledge of this because, most people guess, but you know the legal ramifications, and you're the one that told us about the waiver situation with the UFC a couple of weeks ago. Always appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Always a pleasure. Anytime.
Dan Lust, everybody.
At Sports Law Lust on Twitter. Yeah.
Not. Well, you notice what I didn't mention this time.
We didn't mention Kendra
Lust.
Yes.
No. So I try to add, and I try to mix it up and change it up.
We've been down that road several
we have.
times. So.
Yes,
he is a great follow, by the way, for anybody that's listening.
No, really, he is.
Yeah, he really breaks it down. Super simple for those who do not understand law to follow.
And but he's not taking sides. That's the
right.
thing.
No,
when
he's
you're
just
a
breaking
lawyer
it down.
and you're looking at both sides of every negotiation, and this is what they are. There's unions and then there's owners. And this is just like any other normal labor dispute. You look at the ramifications of both sides and you try to give a response based on what you know as a lawyer. That's why they cost us so much, except he doesn't cost us anything or the audience anything. I should charge the audience at least $10 just for that interview. They should send us $10 right now. So go on Mom and Dad's wallet. You find that little that green thing with a number 10 on it.
Right.
You put it in an envelope, and then you send it to Tony Bruno. Just Tony Bruno, South Philadelphia. It'll get here.
Don't we take Venmo on this show?
Sure, PayPal.
Yeah, we can do that. PayPal. What else?
I'll take
Western
whatever's
Union,
necessary.
MoneyGrams, Bouillon, whatever you want to sell us.
And cash. We'll take cash, too.
Cash. We're coming back. We'll take some calls, too. If you want to call in, 215-462-TONY. Plus, we got some updates we haven't got to. We got to do some birthday celebrations today,
and
too.
you didn't give everybody the
insect update.
Insect update.
We'll have that next. Stick around. Tony, Harry, and the whole gang.
Hand washing and
It's an emergency. Tony's got to run to the bathroom. I wanted to see the ice bucket. Damn it. Oh, you don't have your headset on, Harry? Can you? I want to see what it looks like. The ice bucket. This one's nice. Thank you. It is stainless steel. Whoops. Let me bring it up. It's a stainless steel ice bucket. Wish it were made in the USA, but apparently things like this don't exist. We need to start doing more stuff like that, though, but whatever. Oh, yes, this is double insulated. Oh, this feels like a champagne bucket, Harry. Uh-oh. The lid is missing. Oh, no. Both the lid and the tongs are missing.
Over there.
Oh, he took them out already?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I did not realize he had opened the box. Oops. Oh. Now this, you know, is a high-end ice bucket. It has, look at this, Harry, for the bottom. Harry, look. So when the ice is melting, it goes to the bottom rather than making your ice all watery. Feel how nice that is. That's a really nice insulated.
Oh, yeah.
That'll keep it nice and cold. Oh, yeah, he did take them out already. Thank you, AJ. This is awesome. Now we can be all fancy. Oh, AJ's on the line. AJ, we'll take you as soon as we come back. Don't hang up. Thank you. Woody Hayes Fist, nice bucket. AJ's got taste. Yes, he does. Well, clearly, he is a Tony Bruno Show fan, avid listener, because all of our fantastic fans have great taste and are more intelligent than the others. AJ's on hold, Tony Bruno.
Mercedes is good for 320 tomorrow.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Not ice bucket zebra.
Well, he didn't build the whole studio, but he came very close, considering how long he's been a loyal fan and listener and how many things he's sent over the last many months. But look.
Looks like the Stanley Cup.
It's very nice. Double insulated.
I could actually use this for my ashes when I die, too. This could be my ash urn.
Welcome back to the Tony Bruno Show with Harry Mayes on SiriusXM 211.
Tony and Harry and the whole gang having fun again. Thank you for joining us as you do each day, we hope, Monday through Friday. You know whose birthday it is today, Harry Mayes?
We've got a couple birthdays.
Well, there's a lot of them, but there are only
music.
two notable ones, yes.
Yeah.
Stevie Nicks. How old do you think Stevie Nicks is, Harry Mayes?
70.
That's pretty close. How about 72?
Wow.
72 today. You know how many albums she sold? Solo career and with Fleetwood Mac in her life, Harry?
Well, I mean, she was a part of that Rumors album with Fleetwood Mac, which
But
set
she
all
did
kinds
stuff
of
with Tom
records.
Petty and Don Henley. I'm just talking about just her solo and with Fleetwood Mac.
I saw her with Don Henley once.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
140 million albums.
Wow.
Wow.
One of the most unique voices she's Mount Rushmore of female rock artists.
Are we doing a Mount Rushmore before the end of the show?
If you're going to do a Mount Rushmore of female rock artists, solo artists, she's got to be up there, Harry. Josie?
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. I mean,
She's in the running for yes, definitely.
How would you
can't
round
be in
that
the running
out?
for Mount Rushmore. You're either on Mount Rushmore or you aren't.
Who are the
Mount
other
Rushmore's
three?
so hard because there's only 4
That's
places.
okay. That's what I'm saying. That's how good she is. She's top 4 female vocalists. I don't mean opera singers. I'm talking about rock and roll legendary
What about-
female singers.
Where would Pat Benatar
And
be?
Joan
on that
Jett.
list?
Yeah, but Stevie, Joan Jett and Pat Benatar will probably be in consideration. Did they sell 140 million albums? Are they still cranking it at 72?
No, Stevie's on there. I'm saying
That's
she's
what I'm
a
saying.
given.
She's definitely up there.
Right.
I don't know who the other 3 are, but she's up there for sure. We may have to do a poll question. Although I
Now,
don't really.
Pat
Now that we got
Kinane-
sports, I don't want to be going into
some of the
Mount
people,
Rushmores.
some of the people are adding like Streisand, Madonna, but they're not
They're not rock.
They're not rock. So I would
Madonna
not consider-
can't sing a lick anyway.
No,
she was
not
she was a
anymore.
studio producer.
Yeah, but she sold a ton of
Yes,
records.
she did. And I love some of the Madonna stuff.
Yeah.
Now, who else's birthday was it, Tony?
It's also a guy that I used to see in a bar in Santa Monica all the time. He'd just hang out in this local bar in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Lenny Kravitz. You know how old he is, Harry?
Saw him a few times, too. He's close to my age, I would think. He's around, I'd say, 54.
56 is the correct answer.
Oh.
56. You going to play a little Lenny?
This is the explicit one, though, so I don't know where explicit it is.
Which one are you playing?
Fly Away.
I don't think this is explicit.
Well, it says it is, so I don't know where it
He's good,
considers
man.
it explicit, but we'll see.
He's good.
He warmed up for the Stones one time that I saw him. And then I saw him at the old Carmichael Auditorium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Wow.
He was good. Good show.
I know the Hearts. Again, we're not debating on who the other 4 are. I'm saying you can't leave Stevie Nicks off the Mount Rushmore female vocalists. Solo female rock and roll vocalists. Isn't she in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Oh, yeah. She's definitely with Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. Meanwhile, let's go to the phones, and then I'm going to give you the other
Yes.
update.
And then the last update. And I know that we have AJ on.
Yeah, we haven't
hold.
talked to AJ in San Antonio. He sent us the ice bucket in our What's in the Box segment today because, every Friday when we have to drink, we've been doing like one of Robin's plastic stinking
And it's an outrage.
measuring cups.
I mean, I know we're in South Philly, but we don't have to look like we're in South Philly, do we?
This is very pimpish, man. This is nice. I'm going
It's
to
like
put
a
my
champagne bucket.
I'm going to put my my ashes in here when I'm burned beyond recognition. AJ, thanks, brother.
What's going on, Tony?
Let me check. I was going to say it's not that busy.
It's not that busy, man. It's not that busy.
It's getting busier, and it's getting hot in here, and we have the air conditioning on, so things are starting to heat up, man.
Oh, God. Does that mean you're going to put an AC unit on the wish list next?
No, we have the air conditioner in from last
okay,
year.
good.
We have air conditioning down here in the wine cellar. No, I would never do that.
No, wait. You know what is on there? Just in case somebody owns a business like that, I do have the air conditioning split system.
No,
on the
we're not.
wish
But
list.
no, we're not. No, come on, Robin. We don't have enough power supply
Yes,
to do
we
an
do.
split. No, I'm not doing a split system in this house.
With that wine bucket, that's not going to hurt your keto diet, is it?
No.
Drinking wine?
I haven't had any wine. I've been drinking Corona Premier because it's only,
2.6 carbs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't get it. And I only have like one bottle. I don't pound them.
Right.
I just drink one
And
Corona
a glass
Premier.
of red wine is actually not that high carb. Like a good Cab or Red Zin only has between 5 and 6 carbs per
And you
glass.
know what
so you're
Robin
good.
made? She made keto buns last night because I bought some Wagyu.
Oh, beef?
Beef yesterday in a supermarket in the ShopRite in Cinnaminson. Best ShopRite in the entire Delaware Valley. I highly recommend it. Route 130, they had the Wagyu beef, a pound of it. It was like $7 a pound.
Mm-hmm.
But that's two nice, thick, half-pound burgers
Wow.
on the grill, man. They were phenomenal. Phenomenal stuff. I'm sorry, AJ. Go ahead. You're making me hungry now.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm just excited things are opening up. I mean,
Well, Texas is
opening
ready.
up. Texas is jumping. Texas is jumping. We're back to normal practically.
Have you been to the Alamo? Are people still out? Because people are everywhere in Texas. And Texas is one of the states that people around the country openly root against. Oh, I hope. Well, look at those people. They're out there. We're check back in 14 days. They'll be dead. Are you getting shamed down there now? Is everybody wearing masks down there?
Well, they're wearing masks, but I mean, you've got the traffic. I was actually in my first traffic jam in 2 months, and I was actually excited to be in gridlock.
I was in one today too.
Yeah.
To getting out, we're a little bit ahead of the curve down here. I mean, now, they're even thinking of bringing the Republican National Convention down here because they're, being shamed in North Carolina.
I saw that.
And if they want to bring some of those, one of those hockey hugs down here, by all means, we've got the places for it. We lost our hockey team.
That's right, man. That's
We
right.
lost our hockey team to Vegas, and but we've got the facilities to do just about everything. I think, if the Spurs, if they don't do like a hockey format for the NBA, this will be the first time since the year before Tim Duncan was drafted that the Spurs don't
Missed
make
the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
How about that run?
You know what I'm getting now? The tweets that I'm getting about the hockey return. Flyers fans are now complaining that it figures that the Flyers make a Stanley Cup run, there'll be no fans, they won't be able to be in the building to see it, and there won't be a parade because the mayor won't allow it. Wouldn't that be something? You're waiting for your first Stanley Cup in 46 years,
right?
And you can't see it except on television, and you can't go to a parade because there'll be too many people. That's anywhere, but certainly in cities where they've been waiting for a long, long time.
Yeah, but
Philadelphia fans complaining. What a shock!
Yeah, I got news for them.
It didn't take long.
It still counts.
It still counts, yes.
They'll hang a banner.
Exactly right. But the Kate Smith statue will still be undercover, and luckily she's been shrouded for a long, long time, so she gave no one the coronavirus, Kate Smith. So we knew back before in the day when she was not only wearing a mask, she was wearing a full-body outfit. And I have that shroud, by the way, as you know.
Where is that?
I don't know. What'd you do with my...
It's right behind you underneath the...
Oh, it's down here.
I
in
have
this
it right
wine
here. People
cellar?
think I'm joking.
Yeah.
Here I have it underneath my chair here. This is the actual shroud that covered the Kate Smith statue down at the sports complex.
So that thing was just laying there when you went down there.
Yeah, they took the statue away,
Right.
and they threw this down into the grass. I picked it up and saved it. That's all it is. It's like a black tablecloth, and they covered this up so no one would see Kate Smith. They did it last year.
And the statue was bolted to the cement, and
Somebody
they just
cut it off.
sawed
They
through
cut
those
the bolts
big
off.
bolts.
It's an outrage. I don't have the Shroud of Turin, though. The Shroud of Turin, I'm still working on that.
Didn't you say I was going to get a plaque since San Antonio didn't get named San Antonio?
Yeah, you're right. No, your fan is right here. I'm getting a plaque. I got to call.
It's
They
not-
can't make those.
That's not San Antonio, though. That's
No.
Bruno's big-ass fan.
That's right.
That's right. So maybe we should do something on the ice bucket.
We should. People said it looks like that somebody just won the U.S. Open. You know, it looks like a tennis trophy.
Tennis trophy.
Yeah, maybe they can hold it up. Maybe they can hold it up at the next golf tournament with Peyton Manning and Tiger Woods.
Now, AJ, what would you call the ice bucket if you got to name it?
Oh my God! Gee whiz! You know what? Leave that up. Let's put that up on. We got to do a poll. We haven't had a poll in a while.
I know. We just don't have enough polls on the show.
It's not really a show unless you do a poll.
I know.
Well, you're about to do a Mount Rushmore of '80s female singers.
No, I only did one. I just put what's her name up there.
Stevie
I put
Nicks.
Stevie Nicks up there on the Mount Rushmore. I'm not saying I want the other three today.
Pat Benatar, Bonnie Tyler. Who else we got out there? Hart.
Would you put Bonnie Tyler up there? She only had one hit. Total eclipse of the
That's
heart.
all it takes, man.
No, it
That's all
doesn't.
takes
No,
to read
it doesn't.
She's not even in the zip code.
Jesus.
Wow.
Hey, you know what? Give me that bucket back then.
All right. How about if I give you one of these? No, Nina Hartley. That's a different Mount
Yeah,
Rushmore.
that's totally
what?
different. But she's on it.
Don't
You don't have to name the ice bucket, but I heard when you said that you were going to put a Dallas Cowboy jersey on to get on Jerry Jones's yacht. Forget the yacht. Put the Cowboys jersey on, and we'll call it even.
But see, that was the only way that Tony would wear a Cowboys jersey is if he got invited to the yacht. There wasn't any other option.
Well, it's certainly big enough to socially distance. I don't see what's taking Jerry Jones. Have you put in a call to Troy Aikman or Michael Irvin return your text yet?
No, Robin did.
But we had Aikman on the show.
Yeah, we had Aikman on the show.
Yeah. Geez, we're out of time already. I can't even do the cicada story. We'll save it for tomorrow, though.
Oh, beautiful, man. Enjoy it. Hopefully you guys can get some remotes going.
Absolutely. We need to get out.
Philadelphia.
We need to open this mother up. Thank you again, AJ.
Thanks,
Great
AJ.
stuff, man. Always appreciate your support and love. But there you have it, Harry.
Bonnie
Another
Tyler.
effort. Bonnie Tyler's not on the Mount
No
Rushmore. She
way.
had one hit. Jeez.
I mean, what next? You're putting Susie Quattro on there?
Well, she was phenomenal. Huh? That's great.
Susie Q.
Susie Quattro. We want to thank all of the great guests. John McMullen, Charles, Dan Lust, and all the people who called in and listened. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Good night, everybody. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive.
All right, Twitchies. Wait, what? That sucks, but it's not an all or nothing thing. What? Oh, different conversation going on. See, this is what happens. These conversations start in the Twitch room, and I am not following. But thank you for joining us on this Thirsty Tuesday. Even though Harry's abstaining because he overindulged a little bit too much over the weekend. But we will be back again on Wednesday tomorrow at 3 p.m. Same Bat Cave, same Bat Time.
Blondie's not on the Mount Rushmore.
And see you then.
No. Deborah Harry? No.
No. Oh, Blondie? No?
This knife has a straight edge on it, so it's very easy. Maybe in our world here to live a happy little mountain.
Thanks for tuning in to the Tony Bruno Show with Harry Mayes. Did you miss any of the show? Subscribe and download the audio available on all your favorite podcast apps such as iTunes, Spreaker, etc. Hope to see you back here live Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM Channel 211 and Twitch.tv.
So now this Jed McMullen guy or Jed like